Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Covenant Live.
Yeah, we'll let everybody kind of filter in here. Usually,
I see Frank in the chat already. Classics. Oh, that's terrifying.
So tell me give me a few things that we need to know, because we're doing a totally different vibe here. So it's the classic. Anybody out there?
We'll test it live.
Tell me about the audio. And maybe the video quality too, because it should actually be quite improved. And we're actually doing a system now where we're recording much higher quality footage out of the box.
For some of those shorts I've been seeing.
Yes.
I saw some videos of us. I normally don't really engage with our streams post-streaming.
Yeah.
It's enough to live it once.
It's a good idea.
But I couldn't help it. The short about Riz got posted, and it is very fascinating to be able to see yourself aging in video form over time. It's one thing to know you're getting old, right? It's another thing to witness it. Yeah. And I just saw that video, and it's happening.
Yeah, you feel like you're out of touch finally?
Yeah. Yeah, like this past weekend, we were at FuseFest.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited to talk about. And I definitely was not old or young in the room. You know what I mean?
You weren't the oldest person in the room.
I was not.
That was an incredible crowd.
Yeah.
That
Some of my favorites
went all the way up probably to like 70 to like
I don't know.
9.
I didn't ask. I don't want to say any names, but some of my favorite people in the whole room, I think, were on the both sides of the curve, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
Had some fun opponents both directions, which is just a good time.
Well, let's have a chat about FuseFest, shall we?
All right. So
a little recap of FuseFest 2023.
What is FuseFest for people watching that maybe have no idea what that is?
Well, this was an awesome event. Friends. It was great. Friends. I sound like a televangelist.
You know what you should do instead of friends? Is
send
fam.
a check.
Just say fam.
$13.
It was an awesome event, fam. All right, talking about being hip and with it.
FuseFest was an event we reached out to Stoneblade a while back about doing a big event for Soulforge Fusion, and landed on doing something in like February, which, as it turns out, maybe is a little ambitious. I think maybe we should push back events so that we don't hit like weird like Oklahoma winter thing, because we don't really know how to deal with snow in this state.
There was like if the ice that hit last week that's why we didn't stream last week. We were going to do this stream last week. But if it had hit 3 days later, that whole event probably has to get canceled.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
So we worked out with Stoneblade. They put together like a storyline event. They're doing a storyline event series. It started at PAX and it actually ended at FuseFest. We did really an experiment of a lot of ideas that we've been talking about on the podcast and that we've had for a couple of years, just about how to try to formulate an event that respects the competitive nature of 1 versus 1 games, but also creates a culture that doesn't kind of over leverage the atmosphere into that, which I think we can all agree happens a lot of the time with competitive games and competitive events. So like some key things were like breakfast together in the morning. That was super fun. And I think that really set a nice tone. Brought some speakers in and piped in some nice music throughout the event.
Heard a couple Taylor songs throughout the day.
Had some T-Swift on there, of course. Started off with Sealed. I actually taught 13 players how to play that morning.
Unreal.
Of 85 to 90 people
there
that were there.
People registered. I do not know the actual final count of number of players that showed up.
So that was great. I mean, it's almost like it's over 10% of your event. Is brand learning new. That day.
Yeah, and there were more people that weren't participating in that had learned recently.
Yeah.
Got into the game to attend the event, and also had never. I played against one opponent who had never physically played. They played on TTS.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it was my first round opponent, actually. First game of the tournament, they were playing against me, and they're like, yeah, this is actually the first time I've ever physically played Soulforge, which is
fantastic,
awesome.
Right? You got to get in the habit of leveling up those cards.
Oh,
it's great. So we did a sealed event. The first 3 rounds were sealed. Then we did a lunch break, and then we did a 6th round, basically kind of a limited constructed format where you could only use what you had received in terms of new product at the event, because it was a pre-release. So it was the first time everyone's getting their hands on the second set of the game called Battle for White Fang Pass. And I just got to say, I think the entirety of that formula was very awesome. I had one of the best times at an event ever. I mean, it reminded me actually of the Vegas pre-release for Fab, but even more fun. Like genuinely, like it felt more like a pre-release, like a real pre-release.
Yeah.
Because with Fab, at least, like we saw the cards and we had previews and we kind of started evaluating cards before we actually competed with the new stuff. And this one was totally blind, and you immediately do a sealed thing where, SoulForge is perfect for this, the unique deck format. You just basically are like, I got to evaluate all this at once, so I just going to slam 2 decks together and start playing, and that was an easy way to start the day.
And it was also, on that note, like, it was big enough to feel like a crowd, but not so big that it wasn't intimate. Like the Fab ones, sometimes you play someone and it's a convention hall and you never see them again.
Yeah, totally.
Like, but in this one, you play someone in round 1, you're gonna run across their path round after round.
Yeah.
So you can start to have that, like, hey, how did it go after the 3 or 4 rounds?
After you wrecked me.
Yeah.
One of the cool things too that happened at FuseFest, and this is, I haven't seen this done well. I've only heard it done well in the L5R, the old L5R community, basically like kind of tying players into the story of the cards and the narrative of the game. And obviously one of the biggest appeals of old L5R and to some degree new L5R was the clan loyalty aspect and that tie-in of what you're playing is as relevant as whether or not you're winning. So representing your clan, being the best Phoenix player rather than just being the top player was a big deal in that community. And you definitely knew those players at Gen Con. They were very obviously, it was like, Zach and I were always like, what is this? But they're really into it. And we're like, well, that's pretty cool.
And chanting.
But they did the storyline event and honestly just leaned into it the appropriate amount to make it actually matter.
Yeah.
It's super cool. So like an example that you guys can all kind of follow along with. This is a sorcery stream. So let's just assume you're playing a game of sorcery. There's 80 people around you. And then Eric stands up and he says like, all right, I'm representing so-and-so, and there's this battle going on, and there's a narrative involved, but during your game, if you yell, I give in to the temptation,
which I did,
you can immediately destroy one of your opponent's units. Like if that
or
was...
like a whole site. Yeah,
and so then, these games are happening, but that there's also this secondary element where, well... I could give into the temptation and like do something awesome, but what are the repercussions that I'm going to face afterwards? How is that going to affect the story of the day and the story of the entirety of SoulForge Fusion? And that kind of stuff was happening round after round after round, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was that kind of perfect mechanic. It reminds me of like designing a party. It's a perfect mechanic that didn't skew games so much that the more skilled player, I'd say, would still win the majority of the time. So it wasn't these kinds of effects that could just pull somebody out of the brink. But it was enough that you couldn't be so cerebrally invested in a game that you took it like extremely seriously, right? Yeah. Now we were taking these games. I was playing at the actually at the top of the pile, Zach. And those games were very intensely enjoyable. Like it was very much both players were locked in and making every decision. But I remember my opponent sitting there like, I don't think I can get out of this if I don't give in to the temptation right now. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like maybe you shouldn't do it. And we were like talking it over, right? I think it was Ben. I can't remember. And so then eventually did give in to the temptation, did 5 damage to unit of mine, and that kind of got the game back to, I had gained some advantage and get back to parity. So it was just an awesome vibe in that respect. And I thought it was great. It got there at 8 and left at 10:30.
What a day. 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting, so we recorded a podcast this week talking about the event from a event hosting standpoint almost. Like we gave some recaps, but if you're curious to hear more about it, check out the podcast from this week and just everything that was going on. But I agree,
that was Ben, by the way. Ben, it's good to see you. Ben and I had probably the best game of the day, I would say, for me.
Yeah.
We were locked in to every move.
Really
just this move, counter move thing, and then Cody smoked me the next game by 1 damage.
Super good game.
Oof.
Yeah, SoulForge is good, especially once you get in there. Like that's the most I played SoulForge in a single day.
Yes.
And I definitely feel like by the end I was significantly better at the game than when I started.
I would say my desire to play went up about 500%.
Yeah.
After that day.
It took, when we first started, they sent us a really early copy of that game, and it took me playing 5 or 6 games in a row for it to like click.
Yeah.
And then once it hit, it was like, yeah, this game is great. It's doing a lot of really clever stuff, like the last 5 on the bottom of the deck all the way through.
And do you honestly think too, if you're a sorcery player, no lie.
No cap.
If you're a sorcery player, a game like SoulForge Fusion, if you're playing a collectible game of any kind, and you're spending a decent amount of time and budget on that, like a booster box of Soulforge Fusion, like a $30 4 decks, it's a great like side game to follow and to flex a different part of your brain and a different part of the kind of collector mentality on the side. So it's a great primary game, of course, and there's people who are going to really take it to the limit that way. But it's also a really easy to collect, like $30 to $60 every 3-ish months game, and it opens up a lot of opportunities to come to things like FuseFest. And if you have a play group, most people are gonna. If you're a card gamer or a board gamer, you're probably gonna really enjoy Soulforge Fusion once you get into it.
Yeah. And it is they call it a hybrid deck game?
Hybrid deck
I think
game,
is the name of it. So it's kind of like Keyforge and the Deck's Unique, but you bring 2 of them together and fuse them together. And so you have a little bit of deck building, but not a ton. So if you like card games but don't really have time for collecting or diving into the game outside the game of deck building intensely, then it's a great right in that pocket.
Here's a killer quote from Frank. The Double Dragon deck Zach was running had that Riz the kids keep talking about. His face lit up with joy when he realized he could add a second dragon. That was one of the cool things with the narrative is, something happened and we heard a narrative over the loudspeaker from, I think it was from Alex at Stoneblade, reading that out loud. And then the prompt was you can add a Scorchmane Dragon into your deck, replace any creature.
That was like the promo from the event.
And it was so cool. And then you did, and I did, and we all had these dragons, and then your face lit up.
I had a dragon in my deck normally, and so then I was able to actually replace to get second dragon. And my deck with 2 dragons is very good.
You couldn't even imagine a better world for Zachary Bunn.
Yeah, it was super good. I had a great time. Also, just getting to hang out with a bunch of people all weekend. In like a laid-back setting. I've been going to Fab events for a year plus.
Different vibe.
Which is a very different vibe. But yeah, it was a great time.
So yeah, thanks to everybody that came from FuseFest again. The commentary has been amazing. I've gotten emails, I've gotten Discord messages. It has been awesome, and it meant a lot to us to be able to do that and really get back into that scene after many years that COVID took from us. So love hosting those big events and getting people together in a more casual setting. Super cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of how the events were going pre-pandemic for us. Like our Covenant Masters event slanted more towards that experience. Yeah. Worth mentioning to you, Mr. Techno, Necrotoaster94 on Twitch saying, hey guys,
at 7:20.
Just jumped over on Twitch and it's only showing up at 7:20.
I mean, there's no settings. We're coming out of the box at 1080 for sure. Certainly, we're sending the same to YouTube and Twitch. I'll look at that and see.
Taylor says, can chat tell me how you feel about the admin from the game? I kept looking at the game and don't like all the life total adjusting. It is definitely the upgrading the cards and the keeping track of the stats. This game was clearly a digital game originally. And that's either something that is going to bother you or be fine. I found that once I get 5 to 10 games deep, it's just part of the process. And the actual game itself and the execution of the game is so uncomplicated that it doesn't even feel like much is going on that front.
I wonder if the bitrate might actually be too high for Twitch. Twitch has got us at 720.
Yeah,
Jonathan?
so does YouTube.
YouTube has it?
Looks like it to me, yeah.
Yeah, like it looks like it, but it thinks it's in 1080.
Daydream saying it fades in the background pretty quickly. I think that's a really good description.
And Ben saying it's worth the squeeze. I think that's correct.
Yeah, Ben says juice is worth the squeeze with the admin in his opinion, which is a really funny way of putting that. Also, Van's in the house. We can start the stream.
I've got it. It says it's at. Let me look at that stats for nerds thing.
Are you able to get 1080 on YouTube?
Yeah, I've got 1920 1080 at 30 according to their diagnostics. I don't know what Twitch is up to. I actually weirdly you got to go back to YouTube. This is 1080 for sure that I'm getting here. But again, like most of this stuff is going to be cut out for a later production, and we're actually recording at like 4K ProRes right now. So the finished video, if you want to go back and watch that, will be hot sauce bar.
1080 or 4K?
As Zach would say. I don't think we're going to upload at 4K yet. I mean, how much do you really want to see a high quality version of Zach and I's faces? I mean, it's not.
Yeah, it's not exactly.
It's not like
now,
we're
table, maybe
like
table shots, maybe.
Maybe.
Get the art of the cards and high fidelity reading.
I don't know.
Steel's I'm saying it seems more complicated than it is. Honestly, I didn't think I'd like Soulforge prior to playing it for similar reasons, but once I played it, I loved it.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I was the same way.
Hank asking, when does the Q&A start?
Well, about any time. Before we do, can you guys tell me, are Zach and I the same volume That's one thing I was trying to
Good
get
test.
yesterday to make sure.
NC asking, are we still playing X-Wing? I haven't played. We played X-Wing on stream last year. I haven't really been playing in a while. Really, 2.0 is what officially pushed me out. Towards the end of 1.0, was getting a little burnt on. Eventually, movement didn't matter, or positioning didn't really matter that much.
Well, it really started with Falcon, didn't it?
Yeah, of course. But it eventually got to the point, TLTs and turrets, and the way it was functioning was like Jump Master. There's a ton of stuff there. And I was really optimistic about 2.0. But then the first regional I played in the top 8. And Rebel Beef was basically the exact same problem. Now, they had the system in place with the variable points to fix it, which I think they did eventually fix it. And last year we played and they introduced scenarios, which I think is a really big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was ahead on board when we played, but you won because you won the scenario.
Right.
It was a really good example of, like, you can, when you're min-maxing around only damage, certain abilities and ships just are the best.
Sure.
But when you can min-max around other win conditions, giving those other variables, I think, is really important. So all that to say, once I hit the Rebel Beef stuff and that first thing, I just kind of like took a break, and then it was Destiny, and then just kind of never went back to X-Wing. The pandemic happened, and here we are.
How did it feel getting beat at X-Wing by a total amateur?
Great. Yeah, I love
good.
X-Wing.
Good to know.
The best games are the ones you can lose and still have a good time.
That's right. It's so true.
it's really true, though.
It really is true.
Like, most of the time, as long as it's not defense fatigue, like in Fab, I have a good time even when I'm losing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, I feel the same way as Soulforge.
Yep.
You're just making the best plays you can. It's just so satisfying.
It is very satisfying.
It's just absolutely. It's even making a great play amid a loss feels great. The game makes everything feel really big. Like every card you play is a really big moment, which is super fun. So if anybody else, if you guys have any questions, Terrence, we did a recap of FuseFest at the start of the stream, so you can catch that there. I'm gonna wait. Let's say we'll wait like 5-ish minutes.
Yep.
And then we'll dive into the
Sorcery.
Sorcery Q&A. We've got a couple of questions that we've seen come through the various Discord channels that we can address. And then anybody who has questions, we can certainly address those in real time as well. And you can challenge any answers that we have, and we can go deeper into that. And I've had way too much coffee today.
Oh, really?
So my brain is going 1,000 miles per hour.
I didn't know. We're not streaming as much. We stream 4 days a week. 5 days a week before that.
Can't stop talking about that.
And, well, it's just life-changing. But I thought it really is. I thought your
Got
energy.
so much energy.
I thought your energy level was just, you're really bringing it to the stream.
Well, that's that too.
Yeah. But the coffee also explains a little bit of that. How much coffee do you
I've
have?
got less weight too, so I'm a little more streamlined.
Loose Leaf over there saying that really likes your shaved head.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I do feel like I got very lucky. Like, on the one hand, I definitely am I'm going bald gene. So that's like, I mean, it's pretty much started to a point where, like, I don't want to.
Don't want to fight it?
I don't want to fight it anymore.
Yeah.
But the upside of that is that I do think that the head is aesthetically okay.
Shapely?
For being shaven.
Not overly bulbous?
Yeah. Because, there's some heads that are just not meant to be shaved.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling about my situation. Hair's thinning, great. But I shaved my head back in, like, 8th grade.
Yeah. I bet you look like a total weirdo.
Because I lost a bet to my little brother.
Oh, to Tim.
Or no, I must have been like the 9th I think it was 8th or 9th grade. And I'm pretty sure I do not look good with a shaved head. So,
I mean, just imagining it.
But I also
in the monitor.
What I don't want. You remember that photo? You.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, hold on. You.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and I don't.
Tough.
I also don't want to be one of those kind of people that like has hair here. You know?
Yeah.
Like, especially long hair there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
so
happens.
You're talking about if you had, like, nothing up top, but then you had just
You've seen that, right?
The old shower curtain.
People do, dude, Hulk Hogan. That's his whole thing. He's bald on top, and he's got the long hair coming down.
Actually, maybe that makes me appreciate it a little bit
Yeah,
more.
which is why he wore bandanas.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, he still has the long hair vibe, but, like, you then don't recognize he's bald.
Why not go
until
with
he
that,
starts
though?
wrestling. Well, maybe I will Hulk out.
Bandana, long hair, motorcycle. I mean, you're basically realizing as we speak.
I'm just saying, a boa, got the shades on. I think if I'm going to go with that look, though, I need about 30 more pounds of muscle. So maybe that's the exchange.
I think that would be acceptable. All of us would appreciate that exchange.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Serena would appreciate that.
Gain the muscle,
exchange
lose the
as
hair
well.
on top, get the motorcycle.
That's a good deal to make
Yeah.
with your wife, actually.
Yeah.
Just be like, all right, listen, I'm going to gain 30. Here's the upside. I'll gain 30 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, okay, I'm listening.
I'm into this idea.
And then I'll get the shower curtain and the motorcycle.
Shower curtain. Lord Almighty.
You can just swipe it right over your face if you ever need to hide.
Yeah.
You just...
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Or I could just do one of those things where I have long hair that just goes all the way over.
Just go total comb over.
Oh my goodness. Somehow
waterfall.
We got there. Listic saying try Pilates. Well, you never know. Keyforge says no shame in what they do these days with either surgery or hair appliances. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Like part of me not cutting my hair now is like it's that I don't like having to do routine things that are maintenance things.
Mm-hmm.
So like getting a haircut every month is like annoying.
That's finally what did it for me too.
Yeah. But shaving your head is different because you can just do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I missed I was trying to do this monthly haircut thing and trying to look good. And then I missed it, and then I missed it again because I got sick or because the weather wasn't good. And then it's like, I'm done trying to do this.
Yeah.
Just
so my answer to that was just like stop cutting.
Yeah. You stopped cutting, I cut it all.
Yeah. And min-max, one
now,
way or another.
Honestly, can you imagine two more different looking people? Well, I can't imagine that, actually, in fact. But in terms of the template that Zach and I have, it's like we went to the same character select screen, and then we locked a number of things, and then we did everything else completely differently.
Yeah.
Dark hair, long. Light hair, gone.
We both have beards. That's the thing.
Typically tends towards dark black colors. Typically tends towards...
Everything else?
Anything else. Drinks a lot of water. I guess we both chose that one, though, didn't we?
Yeah, you got to hide your brain. Otherwise, you're going to have a dry life.
I gotta tell you, I love seeing this interaction. Totally Random Studio saying, sup, guys, just dropping in during a quiet point in my day. How's it going? I met her at Soulforge FuseFest. And then Frank Levi, the father in this situation, says, Totally Random Studios better be in study hall, lunch, or passing period, LOL.
Oh.
Because it's supposed to be at school or studying or something right now.
That's awesome.
But, I think choosing the right option here.
I'm trying to imagine sharing a hobby with my parents.
Yeah.
That's not like this, I guess. And just the idea that I could be watching, I'm picturing if I was watching a live stream of something I was into and my mom commented.
Yeah.
It would really throw me for a loop.
Yeah, it would be a little weird. It would be a little, I kind of like it though, Family affair. Family affair.
I don't know. I guess, yeah.
Let's talk about Soulforge. So
we did just talk about
let's talk about the other one, Sorcery. Sorcery Fusion. So let's talk about Sorcery.
Yes.
So a number of things have happened. Well, really one main thing has happened. Last week we announced that we were doing a pre-order for Sorcery Beta booster boxes. And that pre-order is going to run until the end of March, I believe is what kind of Eric was hoping for on that side of things. So it's going to run for a pretty long time. We've got, 6 weeks left in the pre-order?
6 or 7-ish? I guess February was a short month.
Kind of winging it.
I think it's about 7.
Yeah, about 7.
A lot of time.
So that obviously led to a number of questions about what is beta, what is this pre-order, why does it exist, why do I feel this way, like these kinds of things. So we thought we would address a number of those questions and any additional ones that come up during the stream. So if you're a Sorcery player, if you're potentially thinking about beta, if you've already bought beta, if you're confused, you got questions, you're not sure how things are going to work, then we're here for as long as it takes, because we really don't have a clock on this because it's live and we can do this for a long time because we're not doing it every day.
According to the production team, 7 hours.
We have 7 hours of recording that we can do. 6 minutes or 6 hours and 44 minutes are left.
So there is a clock.
Yeah. ProRes is a big...
I have a feeling we can make it through
I think we can make it.
all the questions by then.
Let's start. Do we have a basic rundown? So first of all, what is the beta set of Sorcery TCG? Because it's kind of, honestly, for me, it's very confusing already. What's alpha, what's beta, what's revised, what's Arthurian Legends, and what's to come.
Yeah.
What are the precons, et cetera? So let's cover the
To back
basics.
it up a little bit, last year, Eric's Curioso, the publisher, did a Kickstarter for Sorcery TCG.
Right.
And as far as I know, it's the most successful TCG Kickstarter of all time.
It is. In fact, I think the only one bigger in card games is Exploding Cats.
Exploding Kittens.
Yeah, Exploding Kittens.
You're showing your age. But they did a really successful Kickstarter last year, and part of that Kickstarter, they said, was what you're getting when you back this Kickstarter and what you're buying is the alpha edition of the game. And the only way they were going to make the alpha available for purchase was through the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And it was a really clever way to do it because basically, however many boxes got bought through the Kickstarter is they were going to print. I mean, I assume they'll print some amount extra for loss and damage and all that kind of stuff. But like, this is not a product that's going anywhere else. Like you either backed the Kickstarter or you didn't. And then that's the alpha print run. And the best comparable for this, if you're familiar with something like, well, Fab made it complicated because they've done 1,000 different things. So I won't even use that. But that's alpha. And so after that Kickstarter ends, there's a lot of people that don't do Kickstarter, don't want to do Kickstarter, don't have the money to put money up last February or March for a game that's not even out yet.
I'll give you a real anecdote. I backed the Kickstarter for the pre-cons.
Really?
Yeah.
I took the opposite approach.
and then I split. Robert
I did get the pre-cons.
And a few other people were splitting
there
like
was a split
few
being talked
booster
about,
boxes.
but I don't trust that.
But that's like
I don't trust the splits.
that. You know, it's not going to be the fullness of a collection that I might want to build the greatest water deck of all time. So for somebody like me who's going to want more of this first set, the cards in alpha, it's like, well, I didn't back any more on the Kickstarter. Arthurian Legends is the second set. Is there going to be a way to get those cards again ever?
Yeah.
And I think beta is basically the answer to that.
And there's a ton of people that didn't even hear about Sorcery until after the Kickstarter was over.
Yeah.
And so as the first set of the game, I think the intent all along was that if there's another print run, it's going to be called beta. And so alpha is just the name given to the first set of Sorcery, the first print run of the first set of Sorcery. It's got a little alpha symbol on the bottom. So beta, as described by Eric over in the Sorcerer Discord, the beta edition will contain the same 403 card set as alpha, with only minor tweaks to a few card arts, and text with increased rules clarity. The beta set will also get 4 new elemental avatars, and it will use the beta symbol instead of a symbol on each card, instead of the alpha symbol.
Yeah.
And I think that when it says the new elemental avatars here, the whole reason that this
tell me this, because this is the whole thing. And publishers do this a lot with Kickstarter.
Yeah. So on Kickstarter, like when I got the precons, the reason that I got the precons, a lot of times precons have all the same cards as booster boxes. So I backed for a lot of booster boxes, but the precons were marketed as will include exclusive elemental avatars.
They use the word
exclusive. And so it was like, well, I'll get the precons that'll have the avatars, and then like if I end up not needing the rest of the cards, maybe I'll give those decks to friends that maybe want to try the game or whatever. So I don't have full details on what the new elemental avatars look like, but as far as I know, the precons from Kickstarter are going to be exclusive to or the avatars are exclusive. There will be foil versions of those same avatars in the booster boxes.
Booster boxes of what?
Alpha. Yeah. But they're the same. I'm pretty sure they're the same card as the precon. They're just not in non-foil. So the only way to get the non-foil avatars from Alpha is in those precons.
Okay.
And then there's apparently foil versions in the box. But then, presumably through beta, they're going to replace either the art or what the card does so that we have new elemental avatars and they can maintain the promise of exclusive to the precons, but also give people that didn't get in on that the opportunity to get those avatars, right? Because from a collectability standpoint, really cool. From a gameplay standpoint, having things that are really hard to get, especially if they're any good at all.
It'd be like a hero in Fab that you had to kickstart and then, I can't play Briar because I didn't get in on the Kickstarter, right?
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Which is why, like, even with Fab and now a Sorcerer subscription, which we'll talk about more later, comes with exclusive promo. And very intentionally, it's like we don't want to, neither company would do this, but we don't want a card that's actually truly exclusive because even though that would be great for the subscriptions, that's not good for players.
Right.
Like that's just not
only
a good
like
scenario.
Aesthetic.
And some games have done that. Like I think Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon have both had promo cards that are very good and very legal to play in a tournament.
Well, they've done about everything.
And then
their history
that becomes a problem. So that's beta.
Okay.
And then I have seen talk of revised edition. And I think this is all still very loose in terms of what that means. But presumably, if Beta Edition sells out at some point in the future, if they decided to print these cards again, they would be part of a revised set. And I think revised is actually terminology that comes from Magic. Like revised edition, different borders, something different about it. A lot of times, too, you will see a revised edition, and I've seen reference to this, but make big changes.
Like really change the rules.
This card's rules didn't work, or this card didn't function. So the revised edition of this card, maybe this card's unplayable because of some change we had to make in the rules. So we're truly changing what's going on. Sometimes revised editions also want cards from different sets together. So maybe after 3 or 4 years, you go back and you say, all right, here's all the favorite cards, and here's all the best cards, and here's all the problem cards. Put those into a revised edition print run, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing. And we don't have any info from Eric explicitly on this, right? As far as how revised is going to work.
Yeah, we just have references to it that he's made, but not explicit.
But the vibe, the idea, I guess, that I have of revised is like, I will print revised if I need to, because beta sells out of its print run.
Yeah.
And that would be an additional way to get the first set cards, but they would also be different in some kind of way.
And I think it also just leaves the door open for a way to print these cards in the future that doesn't affect the collectability side of this, right? Because TCG, trading card game, CCG, collectible card game, there is a collectible element to this, right? It'd be like if they could just keep printing Michael Jordan rookie cards.
Right.
That look exactly the same. Then,
You mean LeBron James rookie cards, the best basketball player ever?
Who's LeBron James? That's a conversation that could be a fun one to have on stream. So anyways, that's more or less the alpha, beta, revised.
Okay, and the key thing there, I think, and this is the thing I didn't really appreciate until really this past week when we were having some discussions about it, but we don't actually know that revised is going to happen.
I don't think
Eric said that, and he's certainly not told us that, hey, yeah, revised is coming next, kind of a thing. So, like you said, I think the door is open, but it's not like I can expect revised to also exist.
Yeah.
But it also might exist.
I also think, these things as you go change and evolve, and the situation changes and what you need change. Even you look at Fab and the adjustments they've made over time.
Yeah.
They had to make some really sweeping changes because they had some ideas on how it was going to function. They went, and then you run into certain problems, and it's like, well, do we stick with this thing that's clearly a problem because it's how we set expectations 3 years ago, or do we make an announcement and say, hey, we're changing plans and here's how it's going? I think that door just should be open because hypothetically, I mean, a publisher, and not that I have nothing would tell me this is the case, but like decisions change. Like all the time, and you don't know. We're still with Sorcery. It's crazy because this game isn't even out yet.
Yeah,
like it's not even close. We're way early. Most games that we've played, like these conversations don't happen until after it's out.
Yeah, because what Fab basically did was like alpha and revised for every set for like 4 or 5 sets.
Yeah, first edition.
That was kind of their first edition unlimited is equivalent to alpha revised. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of beside the point. So there's alpha, first set of Sorcery, only available through the Kickstarter. And there's beta, first set of Sorcery, slight changes potentially to some of the cards, but otherwise basically the same.
Yeah.
And it is available via pre-order right now from us up until March.
Yeah, so tell me about the pre-order.
Key thing. So I'll tell you some details about the pre-order. Pre-order's running until the end of March. Boxes are at MSRP, $150. The
MSRP being manufacturer suggested retail
price. Yeah, so that's about, it's like the $4 a pack that you would expect. I think Pokemon is similar, and they've been selling out like crazy, actually.
Yeah, Pokemon, Fab, packs have been $4 since as long as I can remember.
Yeah, but Fab only has how many in theirs?
24.
They only have 24 packs.
But
that's why the
boxes are
price
110.
difference is there.
Magic got rid of MSRP.
Yeah, they sure did.
Which we'll cover some of those reasons, I'm sure, as we get into this. But they just removed it for a lot of reasons.
Which is actually, I don't know, that's kind of some people don't like that, some people do.
Yeah.
You got a lot of opinions about that.
There were a lot of opinions about that.
Anyway, so we're running it. We worked with Eric to set this up. There's really a couple of reasons for that. So the first reason is that we decided not to send anything that was happening with the first set through our subscription service because there's a lot of people like Zach and like me to some degree who would already have some amount of first set cards because we backed the Kickstarter and got alpha. So when we're considering this as a business decision, just full transparency, what we don't want is to say, hey, everybody, we have a Sorcery subscription, but if you backed the Kickstarter, don't join it until
wait
after
till
the
some
first set.
undescribed period of time
Because a lot of times you only get so many contacts and touch points with potential customers, and so you really want things to be actionable at that moment. So the moment that we say, hey, we have a subscription, do you want to get every sorcery set automatically? We want everybody, regardless of if they back the Kickstarter or not, to be able to engage with that offering. So we started with the second set, Arthurian Legends, and that's been the case from the start. So given that we have the second set being served through the subscriptions, we have always been really interested in, is there a way we can serve the first set not through a subscription? And those conversations started with Eric. And so that led to this pre-order of beta that we're able to offer with the exclusive promo, basically identical to what subscriptions are, but running it through a different system so that we can have the subscription serve set 2 for everybody who backed the Kickstarter and beyond. And anybody who needs those first set cards, we can serve with this beta pre-order. The second thing is, too, is like Zach was saying, the game, I mean, Sorcery hasn't even hit yet.
Yeah.
So in terms of demand prediction, trying to understand how much to print, we could really go into this. And we've done so on the podcast a few different times. And just understanding the reality of 3-tier distribution, how it works, where the numbers are, when they have to be in, and how impossible it is for publishers to know how much to print, and why inevitably you see every collectible card game overprint or underprint for some amount of its life. It's due to a lot of problems, or at least as we see them, problems. But one of the ways we can help solve that problem for Eric is at least give an idea of how many people through our pre-order are interested in getting beta products. We can do fun things like compare that to the number of people subscribed for Arthurian Legends and try to kind of correlate, is there this amount of people in your audience? Does that correlate to maybe a universal demand of X? Some kind of data point to get an idea of how many people are actually going to want beta before you go print X thousand boxes, have them delivered in a warehouse and sitting on them for either a huge amount of time or no amount of time because they all sell out immediately, and then the scalpers and the gouging starts. So that's another piece of this that we can help Eric in a small way at least understand demand through this pre-order. So that's another piece of this. Now, it doesn't account for international pre-orders, people interested in the game internationally. It doesn't account for people who want to buy it locally, don't want to do a pre-order, don't want to do an online transaction. Those kinds of things are still variables, but we can at least get a number and get an idea to inform that print run. And I think that's very helpful for Eric.
And I think, again, it's basically a way for us to offer the boxes to people who, because we're not serving through subscriptions, like you said. And we've seen this go a lot of different ways. And the two primary things that happen, and these are really problems that are stemming from the way 3-tier distribution works. And to be clear, for most publishers and most games, 3-tier distribution is fine.
Yeah, it's great.
But we've seen this over and over and over and over and over. Destiny, I mean, even Arkham Horror, the LCG, we saw this exact thing.
That Deep Gate novella was so funny. It was miserable for us and for Arkham subscribers. But it's just like suddenly there's a promo card in a novella. And all of a sudden, nobody can predict demand. They don't print enough, and it's a year and a half later before we can serve it. Yeah,
it was really a nightmare. But the basics are, when you have a game like this, which was the most successful Kickstarter for a TCG, I guess Exploding Kittens was more like a board game, right? It's like a singular release. So it's possible that the print run is way too much or way too little. And this is really just an opportunity for people, and honestly, a lot like us. This is what I would want as a player, which is why I back the Kickstarter, right? Which is a really simple way to just get what I want to get and not have to worry about it, not have to think about it, not have to pay attention to release, not have to follow up with stores, not have to hunt stuff down. So if you just want to get in and know you're going to get it, this is a great way to do it. You get an exclusive promo that's absolutely beautiful for doing so. And honestly, it's the exact same thing as subscriptions. Yeah. Now, it's not exact in that it's a pre-order, so you pay up front. And once we get past the end of March, you can't go back on that order. But the recognition of it's a guaranteed box that comes with a promo is very similar. Mm-hmm. And so organizationally, one of the things we are just trying to do is create a really simple, reliable way for players to get the games that they want and not have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. And that's who we are and that's what we do. And then even with subscriptions and this pre-order, it allows us to pass that information along to the publisher much early. People I saw in the Sorcery Discord earlier asking, do we order through 3-tier or do we order direct? And we order direct. It's the only way we can guarantee that this is happening.
We had to make those moves a long time ago for subs.
Yeah. We started subs in 2011. And one of the most common frustrations for us was no matter how far in advance we were willing to order, commit to ordering, pay for an order, guarantees we're willing to make. It's like you just always have to wait till a week before release and hope you can get enough.
Because distribution just does not offer or operate in a way that can accommodate retailers interested in doing it differently than the way it's being done. Yeah. I think that's the main key.
And for some context on the way it's being done, right? I think this is really important.
Let's get into it, man.
Yeah. I'm happy to get into it if you have questions.
I want to have a convo about this.
But effectively,
thinking about this for 16 years now.
Yeah. The way three-tier distribution works is publisher prints a game, usually somewhere between 3 to 6 weeks before the release of a product, whether it's an expansion or the core game itself. Distribution will lock in how much they're ordering. And it's not till the week before, a lot of times, that they're saying, hey, retailer, you have to order this product. And a lot of times, back in the day, like way back in the day, when we were ordering FFG games through distribution, before FFG was owned by Asmodee, who's now the distributor for them, so we ordered direct there too. We would not find out until Monday or Tuesday of release, when release was on a Thursday or Friday, exactly how much product we were getting, and we didn't have to. The upside is we didn't have to commit to product until then.
Yeah, which most retailers want.
And most retailers don't really care about selling a product until they can actually sell it. So they have it, like they can buy it and sell it to a customer immediately. And so for most games, that's fine. And even if you picture Magic or Pokemon, the scale they're at and the consistency they're at with how the product they're producing and how much people are buying is a very different ball game than someone like FFG, or in this case Eric's Curiosa, well, FFG before Asmodee. I don't know how that works now. But those realities mean that a publisher is printing 4 to 6 months a lot of times before release. And so at that moment, they a lot of times have nothing. They have no guarantees of orders. They have conversations they've had.
Yeah, sometimes they'll like have a sell sheet that they'll send to a distributor, and distributor like, well, I might take 10,000 units, I might take 500 units, I might take no units. And then they can change their mind for a long time after that conversation has happened. So for a publisher, there's absolutely no certainty when you go to press that button. You can actually see, I think Jamie wrote pretty extensively about this with Wingspan as well. Some of his old blogs about Wingspan and that whole debacle. When you have a hot game, distribution retail pipeline gets very problematic pretty quickly.
Yeah,
honestly.
Because when you are in this environment, right, there's two very likely scenarios. And it even happened at Wingspan, which is just a board game, which is, it's so hard to actually print accurately. And with the collectible games specifically, if you underprint, like we saw with Fab, and ironically, they had the first 2 sets come out. After the second set, we were selling boxes at 20% off MSRP. And we
with
could just,
exclusive promos, with crazy promos that are now worth way too much money, and I'm disappointed I didn't get any.
And we could just order from distribution. Like they had the first 2 sets in stock for a while.
Yeah.
Because there was more supply available than demand. And it's fine. And then all of a sudden, game pops off, nowhere near enough, and we see $500, $1,000, $2,000 boxes for the set that was $80 6 months ago or whatever it was back in the day. So when you underprint a collectible game, and we've seen this with non-collectibles too. Arkham Horror happened to the core set. It was like
for the revised core set for Netrunner.
Yep, it was like a $40 product that is now $100, $120 in the app. And some packs of Arkham were selling. The $15 packs are selling for $100.
Yeah, because you need charisma.
Yeah, what was that? Essex County Express.
I think it's Essex County. Yeah.
Or no, Miskatonic Museum. That was the pack that was really crazy for a while. The opposite scenario can also easily happen, which is way overprinting, and
which we also saw with Fab.
One of the deep dark industry secrets about overprinting is that if you, and Fab saw this, right, with Monarch and the couple of sets after that, which is when you just have a bunch of products sitting on distributor shelves and on retailer shelves. Every retailer on the planet at this point, I think, has the capacity to sell products online.
Yeah, go through TCG Player or
eBay or whatever you want, or their own website. And so when it's oversupplied, a retailer's sitting there with 20 boxes on the shelf they want to get rid of. Because retailers, a lot of times, have a 2 to 4 week cash window. Like if they have to sit on something for more than 2 or 3 weeks on the shelf, they're losing money now. Because that's money they can't use to buy next Pokemon set, next Magic set, next board game. So when that's available, they obviously start trying to get rid of these products, right? So the deep discount dollar menu race begins. And then there is also other entities who see there's 5,000 units at distribution, and they're willing to sell it. Let's say it's a $100 MSRP product. A retailer only pays usually $50, depends on deal and shipping and all that kind of stuff. But they're willing to sell it for $55.
Right.
Because if I can buy it here for $50 and sell it here for $55 and make $5, like they'll keep hitting that button, right? They don't have, a lot of those people don't have a retail store, or they do have a retail store and it's like it's already doing its own thing. So now this is just like something they can do.
Business, side fun. And it's incredibly difficult to track this down. If you're a publisher who's saying, I want to enforce map policies, you have Joe's random card shack and you don't know who actually owns it. It's very difficult to enforce rules where there's a third-party marketplace like eBay or TCG Player because it's just usernames. I mean, you can't track that stuff down very well.
Yeah, and even if you can, like the effort that goes into that is very challenging. Like it's not
worth the money.
Yeah. So there's a lot of issues that happen here, and there's reason that this is set up this way. And the 3-tier distribution to me is really built to serve the big three TCGs and then also board games. And so they don't struggle with these problems as much because their scale is just so dramatically different. But when you're Sorcery, underprinting and not having enough product for people that want to get into the game can kill you. Like Destiny struggled with that early on.
Yeah.
Overprinting, Destiny set 2 and 3 can also kill you because now the players buy product on release and then 3 months later it's worth half as much as they paid for it. And then the third set they're not buying as much product.
And then an impossible problem to solve.
It's very challenging. Yeah, it's a very challenging thing to do. And also, you kind of mentioned it, but once a publisher sends product to distribution, they're so out of control.
Yeah.
Because we heard some horror stories of even Fab, some distributors intentionally like holding product off to the side, and who knows what happens with that. So there's just a lot going on there.
Diving into that, so a distributor could hold product, not sell it, make it seem like there's not anything available, then sell it more broadly. They could also move it off in a secret online channel. They could do it that way if they want. I will say, from conversations with Andrew at Earthborn, Giacomo and Ricardo with Skytier Horde, obviously, people like Eric and others, and various conversations for games that we didn't end up carrying, there is a big gap between publisher and distributor, and information flowing one direction or another, and trust flowing one direction or another. So that's an important piece of this also to understand when you just think about the industry at large, is really what a publisher does is sells a large amount of product at a pretty low price to a distributor, and then it goes and does its thing. And the perfect use of this system is it goes and distills down to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 different retail stores. Each of those retailers is incentivized to sell those products, and so they generate marketing and they generate interest among their local communities, which creates a community that's buying your game, which means you send more product to distribution, which then sends more product to retailers, and that's how you generate interest. But here's another interesting thing, and this is something we've talked about on the cast for many years now. We had one where we really opened this up. But sales and interest that are happening, for instance, like on a Kickstarter for Sorcery, the question is, for sales that are happening before a game is at retail, is retail driving the interest that is to be rewarded with sales in store? And this is a hard conversation to have in the industry at large, especially because we've experienced local retail 2012 to 2020 effectively. So we know the struggles of that and how difficult it is to manage a retail sales environment. In fact, we didn't really do it we made almost none money for a very long time. But the question you have to ask is, if you're a publisher and you're saying, do I want to send product to distribution? How much do I want to send? With the assumption that distribution sends to retail, you have to be betting that the cost of the boxes that you're putting out there. So let's say I sell a box for $30, knowing that retailers will sell it for $150 and the distributors take a cut in between. If I'm doing that, I have to bet that by getting that volume out there at retail, retailers are going to generate enough marketing value that I'm going to get that money back through sales at much lower, basically much lower profit for me.
Yeah. Because what normally happens there, just the math on that, is a $100 MSRP product, to make it easy. Just the retailer normally pays around $50. The distributors usually keep around 10%. Mm-hmm. So the publisher ends up with $40, and the publisher has to do everything inside that money.
Yeah.
Print runs, art, design, development, marketing,
Shipping,
host events,
usually.
shipping, et cetera, et cetera.
Container, et cetera.
And so that's why you
Development.
even see smaller publishers, because it's easy to assume with the success Sorcery has had that they're a big publisher. But even Fab, with all of the success and its tens of thousands of players that are actively participating in organized play and all this kind of stuff, is tiny compared to the big three. And so there's, I think, a baked-in assumption that distribution is even going to care, and retail is even going to care about Sorcery. And I don't think we're there yet. But point is, when a smaller publisher, and even with even less success than something like Eris Curiosa, is looking at releasing a product, I've had some conversations recently with very small publishers. I mean, much smaller. And the math on it is, well, if I make 40 by selling through this chain. If I can actually sell it at 100% MSRP, or let's even say 80%.
Like direct through a website or something.
Yeah. So like if you're making 40, your costs are probably 15 to 20 of that. So you're really only keeping $10 to $20. So if you can sell it for 80 instead of 40, you get to keep $50 or $60. You can sell a third of the units and make just as much money.
Right.
So the bet on distribution is that you will sell triple plus. Otherwise, you're just breaking even, right? And you're going through and you're taking a big risk by having to print all this stuff. So the math on that's why Kickstarter is so successful for all these board games.
I mean, that's why giant publishers still use Kickstarter.
100%.
It makes so much more sense financially.
And it's why like some of these board game and miniature Kickstarters can have so much stuff on it. Because if the cost of making a $100 board game is actually only $15, if you spend $30 instead, you can give people double, charge $80, and triple your profit.
Yeah.
So all that to say, like, what is the value of distribution in retail? I didn't mean to derail you, but the math on it is like really stark.
Good point.
It's like really painfully stark.
Yeah, you need to have a belief that you're going to get the scale that you need to make that bet worth it.
Yeah.
And some publishers do that, and they do get that scale, and it does work. And it's built, and for long-term, like continued sales of a game like Catan, distribution is going to make a ton of sense because you want that absolutely everywhere in the world.
Super accessible, et cetera, et cetera.
For some publishers, I think we're finding it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think it's also an understanding with some games, like Sorcery is a good example of Fab. It's a little more complicated because I think when you're Fab, Flesh and Blood, as an example, they're making the bet that rewarding the retailer for making this transaction they will invest in marketing, but they'll also invest in providing a space for people to play.
And the organized play is big for Fab.
Yeah, but the friction point, and we've been talking about this for a long time. We've been working for years on what we call 3.0, the third iteration of our local store. And the whole model that we're working on is kind of crazy because it is actually seeking to answer some tough questions, which is, it used to be a lot harder for this to go wrong. But, when a publisher goes to distribution and they're taking, significantly less to get this benefit, a lot of times the picture in the head is local retailers will be able to sell this product at a profit, and they'll support my game, and they'll provide players a community, and they'll provide onboarding, and they'll provide marketing. But realistically, we know that, like I was talking about the deep dark secret of the industry earlier, is once you go to distribution, you lose control of your supply. You also don't know who's going to get this product. So you cannot, as a publisher, control what you're rewarding effectively, right? And a lot of times we dealt with this for years, like with X-Wing, which we were huge supporters of. And we were talking about that at X-Wing earlier. It would be a $15 MSRP ship. So we pay $7.50. And there were online retailers charging $8 a ship.
Yes, there were.
And I had a really good friend come into the local store, and we were like all about X-Wing locally. Like, it was big. We had a big community. We had weekly league nights, multiple events a week, tons of education, free things that you could use to check it out. We were all aboard the X-Wing train. Yeah. And I had a really good friend of mine who was an X-Wing player, was talking to me, and a new wave was about to come out. And the entirety of what he was going to buy from the wave when he bought it from us was like $200 or $300. And he just mentioned to me the fact that if he bought these online, he could have saved like $100. But he was happy, to support us. And it is great that there are stores out there providing value, and there are people willing to purchase things from them. But our 3.0 model is kind of like, hey, let's stop dancing around it. and saying, hey, you should buy from us at these prices. Because the X-Wing thing was just harrowing to me. Like, I was like...
It's like, I can't ask you to do that.
Yeah,
Why how does it work like this? This makes no sense.
I genuinely, that night, was like staying up, laying in bed, just like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
Because...
But you can't sell this ship at $8 in store. It's not even worth the time to unbox it.
Yeah. So
but you can if you're selling 1 million of them. I mean, if you're at scale.
And the point of that is, there's some distribution when it's working, I think, is a really powerful tool. And the idea, people were asking earlier about what's the upside of going to distribution. Like, and I don't mean to be like, this isn't scary. It's just like, this is what it is. And as a retailer, trying to understand how to navigate these waters. But when you go to distribution, you just lose so much control with this. And then the reality of, you just can't connect those dots on the stores that are actually supporting your game, Fab. Who gets to make those transactions, and then what competitive pressures do they have to face? Because there are stores willing to sell it significantly less online.
Thank you very much.
Good no. Speaking of 3.0,
yeah,
thank you guys so much. Yeah, cheers.
Here's one way to do
cheers
it.
To you. Cheers to all of you.
Guys
Thanks for being here.
3.0 cocktail program, working on it.
Yeah. Carry that while I go de-Invisalign.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll continue on a bit of a soapbox on the distribution front. So the reality is that distribution works great for a great number of games. And in most instances, publishers don't care about control, and they don't care about supplying the market. They don't care about community building as much. It's like, if I'm just producing a board game and I've got it all done, and then I decide, okay, I'm gonna print I'll print like 10,000 copies. I shop it around to distribution. The distributor says to me, hey, I'll take 8,000 copies of your game. I would 100% be like, yes, I will send you efficiently these pallets of board games. You can do whatever you want with them, because it doesn't matter. I don't need any kind of community support. I don't need retailers to run tournaments. I don't need to worry about where the product is. I don't need to worry about price stability on a collectible product. Take the board games, and by you buying those 8,000 board games, I can fund another print run of my board game. I end up breaking even, but I now have 10,000 copies to sit there. And now I can shop that to other distributors. Maybe my local retailers have helped market the game. More players want this, which means more stores want it, which means distributors want more copies. And there it spins. And for a board game, that makes a ton of sense, and it's a very successful system. For certain collectible games, it's a big question mark. I mean, Pokemon runs into very strange issues with supply and where's it going and who's got it and all those kinds of things.
One of the craziest things about Pokemon to me, and that we launched our Pokemon subscription in like 2018, 2019, and started supporting it locally. It was the card game that got me into card games, really.
Yeah.
Is how often it will be Tuesday or Wednesday before release, and that's when we find out how much we're getting of the product.
It's insane.
And it's Pokemon. And what's really crazy to me is how it was really eye-opening, because we also spent a long time not dealing with TCGs.
Yeah.
Destiny in late 2016, 2017 was the first TCG we had sold or supported since like 2009, the Spoils, back in the day. And Destiny was only kind of collectible. Like, it was a collectible game with booster boxes, but now that we're back into it, like, I understand it was somewhere between an LCG and a collectible game.
Yeah.
It was like a really expensive LCG, honestly.
Yes.
But the Pokemon dabbling there, and then Fab was just mind-bendingly eye-opening for us in terms of how these things work, because we've been dealing with mostly non-collectible expandable games for a while. When we're talking about a $15 pack, it hits different.
Yeah.
The whole conversation hits different.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
Even MSRP, it's like, oh, it's 15 or 13.
Yeah.
It's the map. It's like, okay, well, this is very similar numbers, but it's just a whole thing. But yeah, how late distributors know how much they're getting in Pokemon is like mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Like, they can't really speak to what you're going to get until very late themselves.
It's the last minute, like. Okay, so all that said, distribution has advantages for sure. Also has disadvantages, and as a publisher, you have to maneuver that, and you have to figure out how much to print and where it goes and where to put products, etc. So on that note, I think the next question is basically, do we think Sorcery is going to go to distribution? Are we the exclusive source
These
of
are good
beta
questions.
pre-orders?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is we do not think so. I don't think we will be the only place to get beta at all.
I've seen Eric talking in the Discord, and even in my own conversations with Eric, the intent the entire time is to have this product go through full distribution. So particularly if you're international, this would be very relevant because I saw a lot of
Shipping
international
costs are
people
high.
asking, and yeah, I mean, you're shipping heavy booster boxes from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Croatia or the Netherlands or whatever it may be. It can be very expensive. So the intent is distribution, but as we've been talking about, you can't even guarantee it. So I saw some people saying like, you guys are doing this pre-order, but
Use that word FOMO. It drives me crazy.
fear of missing out.
I'm literally here trying to design something that is the exact opposite of that.
Right.
It's a 2-month pre-order window. There's no pressure to do it. There's no time limit.
Yeah, and it was very intentional because it
Yeah.
could have been, we have a pre-order window with an exclusive promo. We only have so many boxes that we can sell this way. Like, sign up now if you want to get it. But that's antithetical to what we're trying to introduce peace
And stability.
to our new empire. No, that's an Anakin reference. I brought peace. Yeah. Really though, it's like it's a 2-month window. It is it's early. The product's likely going to end up in distribution. And when I say likely, we're not in control of it. First off, second, you don't, as a publisher, even if we were the publisher, you don't know which distributors are actually going to pick it up, how much they're going to buy, which stores are going to buy it, how they're going to serve those stores. You can try to negotiate certain things, but again, unless you're Magic, you can't walk into a distributor and say, here's how I want you to distribute my product. Like, have these caps on stores, have a MAP policy, MSRP, manage this stuff.
How much work that is.
Like these are huge.
It's just product on the shelf. You want to move it out.
Well, and all you're trying to do as a publisher of anything is get people to care and pay attention and want to stock your product. So like, you don't walk into distributors and say, here's all, you can carry my product, but here's all these restrictions, right?
Yeah.
Unless you have a ton of leverage, unless you're literally Magic or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, then you can write the rules, right?
Right.
So the intent is not for us to be exclusive. It's just a guaranteed way to get it. And the way we've designed everything on our side is we want to make it for people that don't want to mess with it, don't want to worry about it. And I've seen so many games that come out and if we have an underprint scenario, like with Fab, Monarch was selling for $500 a box.
Right.
So it's possible that this comes out, it's widely distributed, there's a ton at distribution, it's overprinted, people are deep discounting it, and we see all this stuff.
Right.
But I also know that over and underprinting are issues that Eric is very aware of, does not want to run into. This is supposed to be a collectible product. It's a very high-end product. The art value is super high. But at the same time, the tools available for publishers, especially small to medium-sized publishers, to avoid under and overprinting are few and far between. It's a very difficult problem to manage. Even FFG, I mean, we used to get very frustrated at that whole situation. But as time went on, you start understanding the mechanics of the industry, and you understand why it's so easy to do it. Basic example: last I knew, there were 5,000 plus retailers in the U.S., and so Fab actually tried to launch a direct-to-retailer distribution model at the very beginning of its existence, and apparently it failed miserably.
Yeah.
And the reality is that for most retailers who've never heard of Fab and don't care, a player walks in and says, hey, can I get 2 boxes of this game you've never heard of? They go to the distributor's website, they type it in, they can't find it, and they say, hey, sorry, I can't get that. They don't want to set up a new account on a new website to order 2 boxes of this random game they've never heard of.
Right.
And so direct to retailer makes sense if you're giant and you have all the retailers that care about your product already. But otherwise, they go to distribution. And then where was I even going with that?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the long and short of it as to where distribution can begin and end in this equation. So like, as far as sorcery going to distribution, I think the assumption is it will happen. I mean, but we genuinely don't know. These are not conversations we have with Eric. It's like, hey, are you sending this to distribution? How many are you sending over there? It's really just about, can we find a way to offer this as a pre-order for our customers so that they can get beta? That's the beginning of the conversation, and that's really what we're trying to do, is just offer this product. We said in the product description, I want to call this out because I've seen it referenced a few times, saying this is the only way to guarantee you get these cards without any gouging or speculation. So the reason it was said like that is for the reasons that we mentioned just now. We don't know that there's going to be gouging or speculation with this product at all. We don't know if it's going to be widely available at distribution. We don't know if it's going to retail at all. So in terms of how can you guarantee that you can get these products without doing the dance of, oh no, it's underprinted and now I have to pay $400 a box, or no, it's overprinted and now it's widely available everywhere and the product is useless or worthless, etc. If you want to guarantee to get this product without dealing with that side of things, which is still a giant unknown, this is the way to do it. And that's why we put it that way. It's not that this is the only way you can get the product. In fact, it might be. I mean, it's very unlikely, but we just don't know. But it's very unlikely that that's the case.
If that were true, for us, that would be a great benefit.
Well, that'd be awesome
to be
for
the
us.
exclusive pipeline. But we would be very direct about that.
Yeah, once that's known.
If we could say that and be like, this is the only way you can get beta, that
We
would have been the first
definitely
sentence.
Be saying that.
That would have been the first sentence. So this is definitely not the only way to get beta. The intent is not scare. It's the opposite. It's relief. So if you want to know you're getting it and you're willing to pay MSRP, which is $150 a box to get it,
This is
this is it. And you get a beautiful promo with it. And
Yeah.
if you're not, if you want to buy it from a local retailer, you want to get it at a cheaper price, or you want to roll that whole thing, that's also maybe possible, but we can't guarantee that either. And Eric can't even guarantee that. That's what's nuts. He could even find multiple distributors to buy this product. And I'm not certain, again, I'm not a publisher. I haven't ever had to have these conversations. I've only ever interacted with distribution as a retailer. But even just based on the stories I've heard, even if he had distributors who were like, yeah, we'll buy this many thousands of boxes, he can't even guarantee that ends up at retail.
Sure. Sometimes, and honestly, they just go to Amazon with that. I mean, it's happened.
Which is crazy.
It's a real thing.
Think about that. Like, actually, that whole system is wild.
Let's just go, man. I feel riled up now. Kitchen Table TCG. Hey, what's going on, Kitchen Table TCG? Want this make stores not want to carry the game? If you guys are able to sell now with guaranteed supply and a promo card, why would a store want to compete with that? Oh, it's a great question.
Oh my goodness. I have two things I want to say. Also, good to see you, Kitchen Table. First is, realistically, this is just a worse offering than our subscriptions generally.
Sure.
So the reason I say that is you have to pay up front, right? And it's primarily because we didn't want to send beta to our subscriptions for the reasons you said earlier. And we announced subscriptions for Sorcery when Kickstarter was going on. And there wasn't this, right? So I don't know where the energy comes from. But the other reality is...
I've got an answer.
Well, go ahead.
Would you like for me to give you a
I was going to give
sentence?
my second point, but yeah, you can hit your sentence.
Okay, so let's think about this. Won't this make stores not want to carry the game? So let's unpack that a little bit. What that basically says is retail stores won't carry this unless they can easily get sales that would have gone elsewhere if given the opportunity. So what we're saying is players are willing to buy this product right now. The retailer has done nothing. The retailer has not marketed this game. They haven't put it on their shelves. They haven't created any new players for Sorcery. So the people who are wanting to buy beta right now, what has the retailer done to earn those sales? Just answer that question internally for yourself.
Yeah.
Now, if instead the question is, the answer is retailers are going to want to stock Sorcery so that they can create new customers of Sorcery and capture those sales. That's what the retail chain is designed to do. That's exactly the idea behind it. But right now, I would love to know examples of what a local retailer is doing to generate sales and customers for Sorcery that they are then not capturing the transactions off of that. Secondarily, the entirety of the retail model where you're generating players and sales or generating players and interest and then capitalizing on that through a retail transaction is very questionable broadly. We've been talking about this at 3.0 extensively. I can teach somebody X-Wing, I can teach somebody Flesh and Blood, I can teach somebody and get them jacked on X, Y, and Z. They can go buy that product anywhere they want. Those two things are not intrinsically tied. So this is already happening across the entirety of retail, not just tabletop games. If you're experientially providing a reason for somebody to get interested in something and they turn around and buy it online for 20% off, 30% off, that's a problem you have to solve fundamentally. You have to ask, how can I make a profit? How can I charge? How can I stay in business with a model that is immediately competing with online retailers that are going to sell this product for less money? I think until you're answering that question, you're already in trouble. Like the model is already in jeopardy because it's already happening.
Yeah, which is the whole 3.0
right
experience
Nothing
for
about
us.
teaching a player generating interest guarantees you sales ever.
Yeah, and I think the reality there too is if a full MSRP pre-order where you pay months in advance stops transactions that you would have otherwise like that's such to me a fraction of the actual pie, as it were. It reminds me of when we we're talking to Travis from Millennium Games, where he was saying a lot of retailers complain about board games that were going to Kickstarter at the time. And Wingspan was good. They didn't kickstart, but that was a whole issue at that gamma.
Yeah.
And how for him, he's had a ton of success selling board games that went to Kickstarter, other retailers ignored. And there's some stat on like the percentage of like any given successful board game that moves at Kickstarter versus retail. And it was still like 90% retail. Where the wheels
I think it's still only at 12% of all transactions in the States are online.
Yeah. So to me, even the way all the stuff that's happening, like it's not designed to try to like in our part, and we've had to walk this line forever. Like with Fab, both examples, which is not being deep discount online retail. We did that for X-Wing with years with LCG packs, et cetera, et cetera. But then with Fab, it was like not back before there was map, not going even lower.
Right.
And then when boxes were pre-selling for $500 a box, not going above MSRP. And so it's not, there's no like, I think the question comes from, do you think this is going to disincentivize stores to care about this product?
Right.
And with some assumptions back then that these stores would care about the product in the first place. And then on top of that if you lose the value that they're going to create, the game will never be successful or take off and all that kind of stuff. So I do think it's valid that you want a product that local retailers want to support. But as you said, there's issues, even if none of this existed and it just came out and it was at normal distribution, that to me, the way harsher reality is the deep discount online retailers who are selling products.
Right.
Like that is, as a local retailer ourselves, that was a tremendous like friction point for us, particularly once we got past $15 packs, like Destiny boxes all the way to X-Wing waves. Like it's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole vibe. So anyway, so there's some thoughts. I mean, this is particularly fiery for us because like we've been in the tank the last couple of years, outlining all the problems with the retail 3-tier pipeline and with retail stores as they are now, and the kind of the historical role that the retail store played in simply retailing products as the value of those places. You couldn't get products anywhere else. So there was a lot of value in having shelves of product that then you walk into the store and the only way you can get the next Warhammer 40K release is because you see it in the store and that's the only place. Then the mail order catalogs came along. That kind of started it going a little bit differently. But now online retail being so widely available and volume being so much more easily attainable and scalable with an online warehouse and a deep discount warehouse, it's a new paradigm. Like, I'm just being completely honest. Like, if you're still playing the old game, it's not going to work for all that much longer. Like, I don't know how much longer we have, 5-10 years.
Yeah.
But if the value you're offering is 2 players to play the game in your space, and that's how you're supporting the ecosystem, then support it that way. Like that it's not through product sales then. This is the conclusion that we've had to come to ourselves. It's got to look different. It's straight up got to look different. Because even right now, whether it's Sorcery or anything else, if you get someone interested in Fab in your store, they can go buy Fab boxes for map all over the internet. So figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, if you're a retailer who's like, I need to guarantee I have Sorcery in my store, the only way you can get Sorcery is through your distributor. And you need to call your distributor and say, I need a way to guarantee Sorcery. And they're going to tell you, well, we haven't committed to buy it yet. So what then? I mean, you got to look.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to figure it out. There's got to be other avenues or other models that need to start taking place.
And honestly, like, the other kind of elephant in the room for me, I mentioned it earlier, is the assumption that local stores are going to care at all. And there's probably, I think there were some 50 to 100 stores that back the Kickstarter to get the alpha edition of the product, and I'm sure that will do quite well for them because there's going to be very limited amounts of that alpha product. But I think that the reality that happens in the industry right now is when you go to distribution, the vast majority of distributors and retailers are not going to care about your product because it's not one of the big three. And even just basically, not even big three, for us, like we had communities for games. And every time we add a new game, you can see, is this and locally specifically, you can see, even online, but locally, does this bring new players into our community? Or does it just divide the community we already have?
Right.
I particularly remember around the Doomtown time, there were a handful of games all hitting there. And we saw, prior to 2015, it was very Game of Thrones, Netrunner, and X-Wing focused. That was our biggest three local communities. But if you're a local store that's a Magic store, or a Pokemon store, or both, or Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever, and we saw this with Fab, right? I think the only reason that more than a couple hundred stores care about Fab is things went crazy, and all of a sudden, and this is where I was going earlier. I lost my train of thought. When you go from a couple hundred stores buying your product to there were 5,000 stores plus in the U.S., if all of a sudden there's a product that there's not enough of, all this
guess what happens?
You go from 200 or 300 stores that care to 5,000 stores that care
because it's retail. You want to sell products. It's the easiest thing ever.
Yeah, especially products people definitely want and there's not enough of.
That's retail the world over.
That's the best
for
product in the world.
1,000 years.
But the reality of the scale, right? If you go from 300 to 5,000 stores, even 5,000 stores ordering 12 boxes each of Sorcery or Fab, whatever the example is, suddenly you need 60,000 boxes to fulfill the orders. Right. Mm-hmm. And you may have, literally, I think they revealed the promo numbers of the first two sets of Fab, and it was 18,000 boxes.
Yeah.
So once the math turns, every store in the world cares. And I honestly think Legend Story did a phenomenal job using the leverage they had at the time with all that excitement to then get thousands of stores interested that would actually stick around. Once it is successful, it's this weird chicken and egg where most retailers don't care until it's successful. But it's a lot of times not successful until a bunch of those retail stores have cared. Mm-hmm. So for most games, it's a really weird scenario to be put in and a problem to solve.
It flips immediately, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then once it flips, it's uncontrollable.
Now you're underprinted, and now everyone's
and all these other
because
problems.
you can't get cards.
Remember Destiny? That's an example that gets cited quite a bit. Is when Destiny first came out, we took flack because we had inventory, but the reality was, and that was so funny to think about. 2 weeks prior to Destiny coming out, I do not know there was a cap on how much product we could have ordered.
Yeah, and in retrospect, we should have ordered as much as possible.
I mean, I should have maxed out every card, gotten loans, gotten personal. I should have bought all of it, right? And we literally with Destiny, and this is a real example of this. So Destiny got announced at Gen Con 2016, and the announcement and the dice and the colors kind of made it look like a kid's game. Honestly, and that was back before TCGs were cool. That it had been a while before this whole TCG wave had taken off. So I'm a huge, or at least I was, I think I am. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So I'm a huge card game fan, huge Star Wars fan. I played every Star Wars card game, even the LCG, until episode 9. So when Destiny got announced, it's the assumption I think from a lot of people that watch us is Zach's gonna be all about this. And I remember that Gen Con, everyone, we demoed it first morning. Everyone that ran into us was like, what do you think of Destiny?
Yeah.
What do you think of Destiny? It's I played one game. I don't know. But then they sent us home with a beta copy of the game. I was building decks on the way home. Took the day after we got back from Gen Con. Normally it's a Monday. Took that day off. I was living with a friend at the time. Played some games all day. And then I was like, this game is one of the best games I've ever played. It's Star Wars. It's collectible. It's also phenomenal. This game's gonna be it. Mm-hmm. And for the next month to 2 months, players and retailers were just bagging on this game. This is gonna be dead on arrival. This game's gonna fail. And so we had been working with Fantasy Flight, and it was hey, I really want to show people how great this game is. like we did our most extensive content series ever for Destiny, leading up to Destiny. It's like this game.
Also, because we kind of wanted to play it all the time.
No, I was obsessed.
That had a lot to do with it. We were like, dude, do you want to play this game?
So many games back then.
Jango Fett was like so busted, and we were like,
and I had the Vader his point cost was more, so I had a Vader with a Vader single type with Stormtrooper, and it was this whole thing. But I was convinced this is the game, and month and a half we've been doing the content series, and slowly that had been being interacted with, and people were, some people were buying in and excited. But the time came, it was probably like 6 weeks out, which is before distribution, by the way. But 6 weeks out, it's like, how much are you going to order? And that was sort of the put up or shut up moment for us. And at that time, I didn't know that whole like 2 weeks to 6 weeks out. Apparently no one was ordering this game. Like,
completely dead in the water. We would later find out.
Yeah, like the internal perspective. There was a clip that someone shared from Gamma of some executives from Asmodee talking, or FFG at the time talking.
Was it Horvath at the time?
I think it was Horvath.
I think it was Horvath. He has those Gamma videos.
Hi, Steve, if you're out there, if you end up somehow here. But at the time, I was just so convinced that this game was the jam, and I wanted to see this. We were pouring tons of content into this, and so we went basically all in on Destiny. And for too long of a story, 2015 was a really trying time for me, and then for Covenant. And so we had just really kind of stabilized and recovered from an almost company-ending year of 2015. But we were all so convinced this game was going to be it. It was basically like we ordered as much as we could.
We would have gone more conservative were it not for your
belief,
excitement.
Yeah, I mean, I was convinced.
We're like, Zach's really sure of this.
I was convinced. I'm a huge fan, especially at that time of FFG. I love those guys, love that team, love the designers, love the game, love Star Wars. Like this is.
That was Lucas at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and end of 2015 is when Force Awakens came out. So like Star Wars hype was like my energy for Star Wars was very high.
Yeah.
And so we basically were the only people ordering it, and later would find out that we actually out-ordered, I think, literally every distributor in the world.
Yeah,
which is crazy. And it's a genuine risk. And then they had 2 weeks before, they had a pre-release at retailers with the Ray starter and the Kylo starter and the stuff. But the pre-release hit, and I remember that like last 2 weeks, our content just started getting more and more views. All that this hours of content before we streamed, so just Destiny content. Game takes off, and by the end of the opening weekend, pretty much everyone else is sold out. And then we actually had some amount of supply left, and because we still had it in stock, this narrative got spun up that like we were the reason the game was out of stock because we bought it all.
Yeah.
Which we did help create excitement about the game, right, and the content, and we created demand, but we just bought inventory,
right,
and we're selling it.
It'd be one thing if everybody was trying to order all of this, and then it's like, we're going to prioritize these guys and give them 80% of supply. But when it was 0% orders, and we were like, we'll take as much as we can get, that's a different vibe.
And of course, FFG is like, if they're printing 30, 40, 50,000 boxes and no one's ordering, and we're over here like, yeah, we'll take looking back, it's not that much product. Yeah. That's the other part that's so crazy about it, is it's like, the amount, we just happened to be in stock after everyone was out. So people thought we just had endless supply. I remember even with our Saga sets, so we did this thing where we would open enough product to build play sets, and we sold them as play sets called Saga sets. There were people that thought that FFG was just sending us the cards like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because they could not believe that we could make that happen in the time windows we were making it happen. But that stuff would come in.
They didn't see the 12-hour days, though.
Yeah, well we had different shifts of people, right? And I remember my hands like kind of bleeding from all the packs that were opened.
It was real.
And we were just trying to get those shipped by release day. And very excited. I was just so happy to see the game. But then, anyways, it's a whole long story. But the point of it being, that's a really good example of, once the game got popular, every retailer in the world wanted to buy it.
Right.
And there were tons of complaints.
But nobody wants to take risk on it up front.
Right.
Nobody wants to take risk.
And honestly, the system is not designed for retailers to proactively promote. That we ran into that a ton before we started buying direct, which is, again, with distribution and even some direct situations.
Yeah, there's no certainty.
It's like, no matter how far in advance we're willing to commit to a product and buy it, you can't. It's just not how they work.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're going to print this thing and we're going to send it, and then it's going to be on shelves and then it'll sell.
That's the thing. You cannot be rewarded for pre-promotion as a retailer until you play a different game. You can't. It just doesn't exist in the 3-tier system. We couldn't even get that with Asmodee, with FFG. We couldn't even get that any kind of guarantees. It's like we'll do videos, we'll do promotion, we love what you're doing, we want to support you. All that we need is the ability to have certainty about supply. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. So a retailer is not incentivized at all to promote anything until it's on the shelf.
Until they actually have it.
Yeah.
Because why would you proactively
Why?
support a game if you don't know that you're going to get it? And
Right.
And again, the weirdest part of all of it is just, well, what does proactively supporting it look like? And then the recognition that you selling the product is the way you're currently getting compensated by a publisher for the work you're doing. But the work you're doing is not selling the product. Like, actually. It's
Right.
play space, it's community, it's marketing, it's education, it's
Right.
events, it's all that kind of stuff. And that's one of the weirdest realities of the space that we are actively trying to solve. That's what 3.0 is all about. In that...
The retail transaction is way less valuable than it ever has been.
Yeah, and we've been fighting that for years.
Mm-hmm. Now, some people love walking into a store and buying physically. That's great. That retail is there for you. But I think we see the wind turning. If you look at the numbers, just look at the percentages of online transactions over time. It's here. It's coming. It's only getting more and more real. And if you really think you want to sit there and compete with Amazon on lower priced products, I think it's gonna be a tough road. I mean, I just don't see it working out. And I guess we've bet a lot on that. Really good question here. I think the actual question is, what are some retailers doing differently to get the kind of relationship where they know the number of boxes they're getting and getting a promo? The raw answer to this is spend 16 years providing as much value as possible. Build a customer base, build a content platform, a content engine, build relationships with publishers, generate as much value as possible until the equation has you as important enough to talk to and care about. You're not going to get these kinds of deals. So if you recognize that that's something that I need as a retailer, then you have to go get it, right? You have to play a different game than, I hope distribution will work differently this time. And if not, I'll complain about it. Because it ain't going to change, right? So if you think it needs to change for you, then you have to change it. That's the only way it happens. And sometimes it means grinding for 16 years to get to a point where you can get there. And if you're able to do that, I hope that you do, because we need as many people as possible to be change agents in how this is all working. Because it has serious issues and implications for people.
And honestly, just it's even our approach locally, right? Our local approach is not even attempting to address those problems. Our local approach is saying, we provide value in these ways, and we need to find a way for that to be economical.
Right. It's got to be sustainable.
Independent of this other, it is really bizarre, right? If you think, ask any publisher, and I would be curious to know the answer. If you are a publisher, leave a comment in the YouTube video.
Classic Zach button.
Yeah. Question of the day for just publishers, all three of you out there listening. But if the value you're actually providing as a retailer is not the retail transaction, and correct me, I've talked to a lot of publishers, and I do not think the primary point of value a retailer offers anymore is the retail transaction. I think that was the 90s. There's not online sales. Distribution has access to thousands of stores. Distribution is even more valuable at that point.
Absolutely.
Because as a new publisher, how do you even reach? But back then, the number of games coming out was so few. That's a whole different story. All that to say, if the way you're actually providing value is through play space and community and events and tutorials and having
customer loyalty,
having starters available for people to try the game and product in stock, like that, there is value in that transaction. But especially for expandable games, like board games, I get a little more because it's an exploratory. I show up, I look at what's on the shelf.
Yeah, you could be a discovery store
if
there's enough people in your community that want that.
Yeah, but think about Fab at this point. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure 98% of boxes that are moving, let's say 90% of boxes are moving, will move no matter how they had to get there. Mm-hmm. Like there are active players who want the product, who are going to get the product in one way or another. And there are, obviously events and charging for events. There's ways to do that, but
Limited.
yeah,
Sealed and draft,
I think
baby.
the average local space isn't going to be able to actually change the way the industry functions.
Sure.
Like that's a big ask, but I think what you can do is say, what's the value I'm providing? And as a business, how do I make that economical?
Yeah.
And if it's not, because again, like we've been saying, there are dark sides to the other side of this equation, which is if it's the online competition, the deep discount online retail after the fact. Like even if everything was fair and parity and all that kind of stuff like that, there still is the hole in the bottom of the ship over here. Yep. Where you're having,
you're never going to be able to compete on price.
Yeah, like you're over there offering, and I feel it's horrible. Like you're offering so much value. The stores that are actually trying, I know some for Fab that are doing exactly this, and then you're having to compete with, random online store or
compete with us.
Like right now, we
with our subscription.
We even have this, right? Like TCG Player, you can go buy boxes of like Everfest for $50-something.
Mm-hmm.
Like legally, according to our agreements, we can't market a price less than $76 or whatever it is. I don't know the number.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do about that?
So it sits there.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
You're just stuck. So
it sits there, or you get on TCG Player and you move it illicitly, essentially under your map agreement.
Yeah.
Those are your options.
This is a
Those are your options.
We've been wrestling against this for years, right? Because we have more questions.
Other questions about beta. That feels good. That feels really good. I saw some good comments from Jan. Scrolling through these comments is awesome. I appreciate everybody following along. I know this is not always the most exciting conversation for some folks, but it is what gets us up daily. There's such a fire in me about this. I feel like there are so many problems that could unlock such a bigger audience and a lot less stress for everybody in this space. And we're in the middle of a transition period. And you got to get on board with the transition because it's coming. Mm-hmm. The wave is here. It's been building for a long time. It's happening. And if you're not pivoting with it, now the cool thing is there are an innumerable ways to pivot with it and ways that I haven't even thought of.
Totally. That's where the Board Game Cafe came from.
The Board Game Cafe is a classic thing. You could be the most awesome, mysterious place to walk into and find things you would never expect to find. You could have the most unknown board game selection. You could bundle your sales model with something that we haven't even considered. You could charge for things that we haven't even thought of. Right?
The comments coming out really nice. Thank you guys for being
There's
here.
a million ways to do this, but like if you really just think that you're gonna sit there and compete in this environment on a high demand product, it ain't gonna happen. It just isn't gonna work.
Now, I'll tell you very simply though, with Sorcery, assuming 3.0 was open, I would be so excited about the ability to have sealed and draft events for this game. Mm-hmm. And this is a game unlike any other. Like this is a very unique game.
Very different.
And I think it appeals to a very, it's a different, one set a year. Like that was where I was kind of going earlier, is like the assumption that stores are going to care about this game at all. I think there will be stores that do. We're a store that cares. And if 3.0 is open, when it is open, we will care a lot about Sorcery. But for the average store, like a collectible game that releases one set a year, with this theming and this like the way it works, I don't think it's going to be
unless you're doing monthly sealed and draft events and you're charging $20 a player and you're turning that $100 and some odd box into a $200 some odd box, which is what you should be doing, in my opinion.
When you have draft and sealed,
yeah, when you have draft and sealed, this is your advantage, right? Miniature Market can't offer draft and sealed. Covenant can't offer draft and sealed online. Amazon can't offer draft and sealed. If that's where the value is, then flex on that and go get it. And you can turn a box that somebody could sell online for X amount into almost double that amount just on entry fees that include the product. So that there's options.
And I've seen this question a few times from Torres88, so I want to answer it. It's saying, do I need to track down starters, or will the box be everything I need?
Starters and precons. This is a common question.
Yeah. So from what I know, there will be beta precons. I'm going to get some more information about that. We're not pre-selling them currently. I presume we will make those available, assuming that they are going to be available. But also, if you're buying like a booster box, as far as I know, there's nothing exclusive to a pre-con for beta that you can't get in the booster box. And
As far as we know.
yeah,
Eric's a wily. He's a mysterious.
I do know if you buy a
person.
single booster box, you should be able to easily build 2 decks or more of the game. Like probably a deck for each element if you really want it.
Even max, probably not max land, right? But we never get through 20 land. I think we cut down to like 10. And
I think
need a
you can
bunch
at
of
least have 2 lands worth of decks together.
Okay.
Because there are basically lands in the common slot too.
Okay.
So even from a draft sealed perspective, I think there has to be a certain amount of
spread.
that stuff going on.
Now, questions we've gotten: will we be selling the beta precons? Do the beta precons exist? Yes. I think the answer is yes.
I think they exist, but I need to get confirmation on this.
So we can't confirm that, but they have to, right? They pretty much have to. And then secondarily, will we be selling them? Once we have information from Eric on beta precons and what they are, and if they're going to be available to us, we'll absolutely sell anything that we can. I mean, any pre-orders for like beta precons would be great. We just don't have any information on that. So I think that's it. Anything else? Anything else that you've seen on the Discord, question wise? About got an hour into this segment. We may end up on the 6-hour train here.
Other questions?
I like Jan. You're leaving great comments, by the way. Thank you so much for that. I've seen a lot of great things.
Hank's
here.
saying to confirm the beta sale will close on the 31st of March. Is that correct?
What do we say?
The end of March.
Yeah,
So
we kind of leave it open.
After March 31st, the intent is to turn off the pre-orders.
Okay, let me put it this way. I'll just make sure this happens. It closes on April 1st.
Okay.
It could be 12:01 a.m., but it'll close on April. You'll have the entirety of the 31st of March to pre-order.
Okay.
Let's just say that. Unless Eric comes in with a bamboozle and says like, I've got to get print numbers now.
I don't think that's.
But okay, I'll even make a note of that to make sure it's open all of March 31st.
Okay. Another question I've seen, are the foils going to happen in beta? What about the curios? So the curios are a very rare, weird card.
Did you read Eric's response to the curios?
I will quote from Eric in the Sorcery Discord. It's hard to know much about curios. There's almost no information about them out there. I think it's intentionally.
I love that he did that.
Yeah. It's a collectible game, like you don't know what's going to happen. I assume alpha will have special things that are only alpha in these categories, but I know Eric very much would, from every interaction I've had with Eric, I would assume he wants to make beta feel special and collectible in its own right. But at the same, earlier we were talking about same 403 card set, minimal changes. So I don't think if you went in big on alpha that you're going to necessarily feel like, oh gosh, I can't believe I didn't buy any beta because of these issues. But I also assume that people that getting in beta that missed alpha, you don't want to completely just make them feel like, oh yeah, I missed all the good stuff, like all the really exciting stuff. How they do that, I don't know. But fab example would be you have cold foils versus rainbow foils, and maybe you have different treatments or different art or different stuff going on. But that's one of the reasons we're such big fans is like this.
Bring some romance back to this thing,
it's just an understanding.
Let's go. Let's get a little artisanal thing.
You never know what's going to happen, but also like I want to respect the experience and make it great for people.
Yeah.
So I expect it to be good.
Well, one question I did see is beta going to be available unlimited? Are they going to keep printing it until the end of time? Our understanding is that it will be one print run of beta of an unknown number. That's it. And then our understanding again past that is if beta sells out and there's enough demand to warrant, again, how do you know? I mean, you kind of try to piece this together from various data points. If beta sells out and there's a sense that it was very in demand and there's a lot of people that still want these first set cards, I think that's when maybe a revised print run or something like that would come in to do a third print of the first set to satisfy that. But I get the impression that Eric wants to have a new name for every printing of something. That's my sense. Cycling. Maybe revised would be unlimited, but I don't know.
I mean, the other piece of this that is fascinating to me is Sorcery is such a just a different game. And the reason I mention that is intentionally so. It was part of what made it so appealing. Not focusing on tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And one set a year, different pacing, all hand-painted art, go down the list. But the lack of focus on tournaments makes it a way different scenario than we experienced with Fab.
Yeah.
Which is if beta sells out and then Arthurian Legends comes out and you can't get beta, I assume if there's a lot of demand on Eric's side, there's an interest in being like capitalizing on the demand.
Right. But don't do too much.
But
because then it tanks.
Part of that though, that's real though, is if you were there for alpha and beta, you were there and you got the stuff. But when you remove the tournament focus, it's not a fairness thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's not we need to make sure all these cards are always available because if Steven
Worlds
gets
is
in 2 years from now,
200,000,
yeah. And so again, it's a collectible product. Like I don't expect to be able to buy the 1988 Fleer set every year forever of sports cards, right? And so
what's a sport card?
Personally, like I love the concept that even the way they did the Kickstarter of however much it's backed for, that's alpha. We're not trying to maximize, capturing revenue or, right now, how many more alpha could you sell if they were just willing to sell it? There's an element though of if you were there and you were in that moment, you have the thing.
And you committed early.
Yeah.
You believed in the product, et cetera.
And so with even beta, to me, there's if I were doing it, again, this is up to Eric's Curioso, but if I were doing it, once beta's gone, even revised edition, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe after the third set or something.
Yeah,
but
I know with SoulForge,
sets go out of print.
SoulForge announced
the old-fashioned way.
When they basically print the set and then they're not going to reprint it. So the first set's out, and if it runs out, it runs out. And that's a unique deck game, hybrid deck game. So it's got elements that make that work. But at the same time, I like the idea that you print the thing and you move on, and collectability doesn't then come from artificial scarcity. Mm-hmm. It comes from time. Just like baseball cards, or just like whatever's going on, or tons of collectible stuff, like old Coke bottles and stamps and whatnot. It's like this was not designed and then underprinted to make it have value. It was printed. We attempted to print to demand. We made it available to people when it was coming out. And then now it's hard to get because that thing came out in 2022 or 2023, and now it's 2030. And it's like, well, beta is hard to get now because it's old. And people opened their boxes and did whatever they wanted with them. So,
yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, interesting stuff. I see a lot of comments from you, Jan, about like domestic production. So I think that's coming. I honestly do. I really do think that level of vertical integration is probably on the way. I mean, so what we actually see, if you look at the way that technology is developing, and really it's always technology, the way that's developing. It's easier. It's going to be easier and easier for publishers to sell direct, or to work through a retailer like us, like a bigger retailer, an online retailer, to handle a part of the transaction, the direct sales, the actual delivery to customers, etc. And maybe this is the dark truth in reality that we've been staring in the face. It's going to be easier and easier to cut out the retail chain moving forward. Strictly, I can spin up a Shopify store in 10, 15 minutes and start selling a product, right? Now, do I want to build the infrastructure to generate printing labels and boxes and employees to pack out orders and send to individual customers across the world? That's something I may or may not want to do as a publisher. I may not want to have that expense and basically commitment. But it's easier than ever to sell products online. If it also becomes easy to manufacture products domestically, then we will start to see more and more of this vertical integration where publishers can start cutting out middlemen and get products directly to customers. Now, the grand gambit, and this is the question that we all have been asking for many years, is like, what happens? Are games even valuable at all if the retail chain isn't involved?
Yeah.
Will people find ways to play these games not at a retail store? Will models pop up that serve players looking to play games without selling them? That's a good option, I would say. So there's a lot of things spinning right now, and that's what I mean by the wave is here. But I would not be surprised to see more and more vertical integration. I think if you look at what Magic's been doing and how Wizards has been moving, I mean, it's right in front of us. It's definitely happening. If not vertical integration, it's going straight to Amazon on some stuff. So there's definitely a vibe here that you need to adapt to. I mean, you got to change.
Two things. One from Scheming Skeleton.
The old Scheming Skeleton. What's up, Scheming Skeleton?
Basically saying thinks that printing beta is unnecessary because there's plenty alpha printed.
Also says I think selling beta is perfectly fine. It just seems unnecessary.
Yeah. So I'm again earlier referencing my example. it just sticks out in my brain with Travis talking about Kickstarter, but saying the vast majority of board games that sell, even the successful Kickstarters, come after the Kickstarter. So it's possible that beta was all the players that are going to be interested and they bought all they wanted and there's plenty of product and all that kind of stuff. But I think the hope is that a lot more players are going to get into the game and want it, and they haven't had a chance to buy it yet. And I know a ton of people that would not touch a Kickstarter with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people.
Yeah, especially if you're paying $150, $140 a booster box like the Kickstarter had for a game that is a year plus out. Like, it's just not even in the
I don't
realm.
have any worry about alpha holding value and not being widely available. I think it'll be a very valuable product.
Yeah, the second one is Tom saying comparing sports cards to playing cards is a bad faith argument. No one is playing with sports cards. If a company isn't printing cards, again, they're not caring about the game itself, just the secondary market. So, two things I'll say about this. One is that really matters for a game that cares about tournaments and competitiveness, right? If that's the experience you're trying to offer. I think in Sorcery's case, it just isn't true, because me not having beta or alpha 5 years from now is significantly less relevant for Sorcery than it is for Fab, a no rotation competitive
100%.
game.
Yeah.
The second piece is just the actual physical limitation. So if you're going to hit print on a product, there's a minimum amount you have to print, and if you're only printing the minimum amount, it's very expensive. So part of the genius to me of Sorcery going a very different path and just saying, tournaments can happen, that's fine. We may or may not support tournaments, but that's not our focus, right? It's the whole appeal to me of Sorcery is trying to capture that 90s feel of games for me, which is in the 90s as a kid when I was playing these games. You just kind of...
I was there.
Yeah, you just get what you get, right? I played games where you get a starter and a couple of booster packs, and you get 2 or 3 booster packs every couple months, and that was the game. And I think you can have that experience with Sorcery. You can go slow. You can play sealed. You can grab 6 packs and play the game and whatever. And so part of even sports cards, the reason they don't keep printing beyond collectability and that whole bit is continuing to print everything.
Obviously, that becomes impossible.
It's very impossible. And it's very expensive. And having warehouses and distribution, and if you keep printing everything all the time, then the prices are going to stay on the floor because there's always going to be extra. And if you have infinite growth happening, infinite players trying to get into the game, that makes a lot of sense because you always need more. But these markets tend, like Magic, they're not going back and printing. I mean, they did that $1,000 thing. They tried. Yeah, but the recognition is they have rotation to kind of answer that. It's like, we don't need to have this always available because we'll eventually rotate and you won't need it. But then they have the format where you can play all the stuff. So you kind of do need
That's where all the
everything.
expensive cards are.
So anyways, but just from the outset saying, we're trying to create that experience we had when we were kids or when we were younger playing these games like Magic for the first time. And when I hear people talking, I was too young and I would not have been allowed to play Magic when it was coming out, even if I were older.
The old D&D scare of the 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
But what I hear about those times and the way it functioned is very appealing to me. And so for me, I feel like Sorcery is kind of an opportunity to experience that myself. And I'm very excited to do it. And I don't feel the need to own it all necessarily, even though I bought a lot of alpha.
You feel kind of a need deep down here. Like I'm the kind of person who doesn't feel a need. You feel something for sure.
Yeah, but I know that with Sorcery, I want to collect and have certain things, like the foil Sorcerer's Stone as an example. That card's beautiful.
As an example, just as a random.
And I want the Elementalist foil too. But point is,
also every card foil wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. but I know I'm not going to go play in a $100,000 plus World Championship.
Yeah.
So I don't feel the need. Like with Fab, it's like I want to own a play set of all the cards because if I want to play a certain deck, I want to be able to play it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to hunt stuff down.
Yeah.
I don't want to play those games.
It's different.
And so I'm really looking forward to leaning back into Sorcery, even here on stream. I assume we'll just slowly take our time through who knows what experience over the course. But yeah.
Especially Arthurian Legends. Shout out, really good comment here. Astaria saying beta is necessary. I didn't even know about Sorcery until after the Kickstarter. So obviously that's a good example of why beta can be very helpful here. But also Mickey T with a good comment, basically talking about how online retail, people will be open to find playgroups outside of retail. Online retail allows folks to not feel restricted by that as their only playgroup option, libraries, pubs, etc. This is a tremendous reality that needs to be at the front of the conversation here. We have a fantastic little local community here in Tulsa that plays Go at the public library. And there's no reason that Go club isn't also playing Magic or Fab or anything else. So if your store isn't the best place to play a game like Flesh and Blood in your local area, then watch out. Because there's a lot of nice places where you can go do things.
Which, piggybacking on our point earlier, if you're not the best place to buy something, because you can buy it Amazon, online, wherever, deep discount retailers, and have it shipped to my house.
And if your floor is sticky when I walk in your building.
And you're also not the best place to play the thing. What are you?
Where are you? You're relying on old paradigms and old habits.
Yeah.
And it never works. I mean, that never works. So just really watch out. I'm trying to throw up a flare here, everybody. Anything else on beta? Let's get a game on the table. Let's play some freaky Sorcery.
Any other questions before we dive into this? Because
we can start getting set up.
I'll
You
get
have your cards, yeah?
My cards. Yeah, they're not
Now,
mine.
all the cards on the table we're giving out in our subscriptions.
Did
Did you bring your secret cards?
my secret cards?
The one everyone on staff got one, and I have mine tucked away. That water gem.
Well, we posted about this, but and we talked about this when we were opening this stuff. But Eric's Curious has sent us a test print box of the game, and as far as we know, those are very few and far between. And we are randomly sending all these cards with the first wave of subscriptions, which is Arthurian Legends Set 2. But we did give everyone on staff, which is 9 people, for context. I don't know if a lot of people know that. So we're not a giant team. One card of their choosing, and they can clearly do whatever they want with. So the reason what you just said is not completely true is I let everyone else pick their cards first.
You haven't picked your card?
I have not picked my card.
Oh my gosh. Leaders eat last garbage here.
Yeah. So I did not get as much as I would have wanted Predestination. That card was really high on my list. But that's
Can't imagine why.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's why, huh?
So yeah, these are all the test print cards. They're all sleeved because these are all going to not be owned by us. And
look at all this. Hold on, look at this. This is actually nice to see. Look at. So these are all being given away.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
And I'm sorry, I know that there's collectors out there that are like they're touching them, but we're gonna play with
sleeves.
them.
I mean,
we're gonna play with them.
We never said that these were going to be 10 out of 10 mint condition cards by the time they got to you. But they've stayed sleeved. We're going to leave them in these sleeves because we don't want to wear them down, taking them in and out of sleeves. Also, we have these 2 packs that we have not opened. We don't know what we're doing with them yet.
These are not forever.
These are not going to be given out. We're going to keep these, just to be very clear.
I can't.
We had a whole box, minus these 2 packs, and minus 9 total cards that are not going to go anywhere. Otherwise, they're going with the Arthurian Legends.
I took the Water Ward gem also. I'll show it to you.
Yeah,
look at how good this
sure.
thing looks. Oh my gosh. It's so good. Dude, and we looked at the new version. It's changed a lot. This used to be a bad design, and now it's a great design.
Yeah, the design of the card. That is one of... Honestly, I'm not even a water guy, and I would have wanted that card.
I get to keep this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, look at that thing. I remember when I opened that, I was just like astounded by how beautiful it was.
There's multiple gems still left.
Some comments real quick before we dive into all this. Obsidian, I have a question. Do you guys have Valentine's Day plans? We'll come back to that in a second.
Ooh, I need to think about that.
Frank says, fascinating conversation. Thanks, guys. Happy to do it. Thanks for being here. More conversations like this on the Covenant Cast, if you're unfamiliar with that. There was something that I wanted to read. Hold on, where'd it go?
I'm gonna run to the little bathroom here.
Yeah.
Working on it.
Yeah. Obsidian, what's nice about Sorcery is that distribution won't play games today on boxes. It's all direct to backers, whether it's individual players or stores. Yeah, with the alpha released. For sure. Hank says, will the beta print run be available? Well, that's up to Eric. But personally, I prefer a little mystery in my life, so I wouldn't reveal it if I were him. But that's going to be up to Eric's Curious over there. I was trying to find that comment. There it is. Mickey saying, hasn't it kind of been the impetus of the players to advertise the game most, telling or asking your friends to play, guilting D&D, play groups to play, etc., etc.? I mean, I think that's another harsh reality of the current system. I know several stores that would not have local fab communities or events if the players weren't the ones making it happen. So a lot of times you have this weird scenario where a store is honestly, this happened to me as a kid. I hosted events at the back of my uncle's movie rental business, the Movie Barn, which I was very grateful for him to let me do. Cobbled together dining room tables and chairs for my aunts and my grandma and stuff. But I hosted these events for Pokemon and then Dragon Ball Z and then Lord of the Rings and then Star Wars TCGs. And the Star Wars TCG, we had like a really nice we're a small town of 2,000 people. 15, 20 person play group that played every week and bought all the products there and stuff. And at some point, my grandpa was talking to my uncle who owned the shop and was saying that he didn't think it was fair that I was doing all this stuff and not getting compensated in any way. So at some point, he started giving me booster packs for hosting these events and getting them all this revenue. But I think a lot of places, the players are the reason these events are happening, these players are happening. And there are a lot of stores that just get a benefit from that. And that's not all stores.
There's some great stores out there.
Sita
We've been to
saying,
them.
do we know if there is a way to ensure you get the avatars, or are they random like all the cards? Wasn't sure if they were like avatar decks or whatnot. I assume that's what will be in the pre-cons. Hold on, let me hook you up here.
Oh, right, and I'm supposed to get those avatars, which are over here.
Alright, so these cards
That was
are
fun.
unreal. Yeah, I mean, it was sort of a mini podcast situation.
That was fun.
What is this? Oh, I see. Hold on. Okay, and just for some exciting math, you can see this case of this thing of product here. These are divided by color, but I wanted to be also very clear and transparent. This section here,
Can you put it more in the...
yeah. This section here, which is from this Dragon Shield box to my finger over here, these are all ordinary cards, which is the bulk of what comes in a box. And then this stack right here is the, that's an ordinary technically. Put a color in front. Elite, exceptional, unique stuff. And so, just to give context of how much of that is here, there's a lot of these. This is a big old stack that'll be going out. All of these will be going out, but just so you can see it, how much is there.
in your eyeballs? There's Corpse of Euros.
Alex says, I missed the first hour. Did Steven rant about fatigue and fab?
No, but I can. Spin me up.
Spin me up, Scotty. Man, I just
Back me up. Inside the jukebox.
do not like fatigue
When I die.
ever.
Any game plan that revolves you telling your opponent they can't do anything is bad.
It's a bummer, man.
It's bad.
It's gonna be
And
bad.
I understand the appeal. And I understand that it can be fun because you win. But
I do like winning.
As a design-minded person, I would pretty much stay away from that archetype forever. I would be very, very, very much not doing things like cancel your opponent's action, tell them they can't do X, Y, or Z, etc. Unless it's tied to the fundamental engine of the game, which is attacking. So
I do like that.
if, for instance, it was whenever this attack hits, prevent the next 5 damage your opponent does or something, hey, I'm into it.
Yeah, or like, you
Give me a decision point.
you should block this damage because it's damage.
Give me a decision point.
I'm just getting this divided out real quick before we get it.
Timothy Lee, the cards that we're giving out here that you're seeing today, those are through our subscription explicitly. They will be
Not the
sent
pre-orders.
with set to Arthurian Legends through the subscription. The subscription you sign up for, you don't get charged anything, and then 2 to 4 weeks before the release of Arthurian Legends, you will get charged, and then we will send you the product, including a random shot. Now, some people will not get a production card, and it's going to be kind of heartbreaking. I don't know how to get over that, but it's going to be disappointing for some people. Isn't it amazing? We've been thinking about this too. Like, if you go from everybody gets the same thing to some people get the same thing plus more, the people who don't get the plus more feel worse than if they had never had the chance to get the plus more at all. Yeah. Similar to giving out the 16 playmats at FuseFest.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of that, we were like, that's going to make anyone who didn't get a playmat feel worse.
Yeah.
So we gave them a half deck.
So are you saying we're gonna have to come up with something to give everyone that doesn't get a?
I'm not saying that. No, I'm not,
you know what?
I'm not
Look,
saying that.
if you don't get one of these, you'll definitely get a promo with each box.
Everybody will get a promo.
That's
Everybody will get a
a
promo.
thing.
But yeah, the whole chance thing is difficult. But I hopefully we can all just appreciate that some people will get these cards, some people will not. I presume. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but I presume that's the case. I wish we could send something to everybody, but it's kind of the best middle ground we could find.
Yeah, and at least as it says now, I think there's 500 plus cards in this stack. So a lot of people will get one of these along with everything else that they're
About
getting.
500 of them.
Someone asking, where's that? Porian saying, what sleeves do you recommend with Sorcery when it comes out? My two favorites, and they're very close, they have different upsides, are Katanas and Dragon Shield Mats. Dragon Shield Mats have like a little extra space at the top of the card, which is particularly good if you're a double sleeve kind of person. I'm not. They also have a really, they wear in very well. Katanas up front, depends on how much you're using them, have a really incredible feel. They're also, as you can see from these cards, they're in katanas right now. There's not a lot of extra room up here at the top. So some people like that extra space on Dragon Shield is kind of bothersome. That's right, Hank, saying just buy more to increase your chance of winning. That's right. Buy a bunch of boxes.
Yeah, there you
Get the
go. Buy my
subscriptions
book.
And increase your odds, so to speak. So are there any avatars or themes or colors you're wanting to explore this fine day?
All right, I guess I'm not playing water. Oh, are we playing from one of these 4 avatars? The most recent iterations we've got?
Yeah, I think so. We're playing on borrowed time, you know what I mean? Here's
Yeah,
the
this
thing.
is all well behind. We won't have pops for the live stream, but we will pull some cards in potentially on the finished video that we do. We'll pull that up later. Put that up later.
Here's something I want to say.
That footage looks so good.
It is. It's so vibrant,
It
dude.
looks so good.
Full color.
We actually
Zack
need
and
to get our
Steel.
LUTs together. We need to. This is too saturated. We need to draw it
It's
down
like
so
the,
we can color it later.
There's a filter in Instagram that looks like that.
Yeah.
Lo-fi? Everyone's used lo-fi.
I don't know if this
You know
is
what I'm talking
lo-fi. This is like a very vibrant. Anyway, we'll fix that.
Yeah. They'll
We're gonna have to
figure that
pull
out.
the light down on these.
the big brains.
We need better neutral material here. This is way too colored.
I mean,
Yeah, anyway.
I do my best to not wear colors.
Yeah, thanks.
So what I was going to say is this may be the last time we play with the test cards.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I know everyone in the Sorcery community is waiting for an update from Sorcery about the status of Alpha. And I do remember seeing something about Chinese New Year happening, and it's pushed a little. But I think we're in a month or two.
You think it's happening? This is a question. Do we have any idea when Arthurian Legends is coming out? Publicly, Zach? I don't know what you know.
Hold on. No, I last I knew, the expectation was that it would come to the idea is once a year.
Right.
So we're getting alpha this year and we're getting beta. But clearly the Kickstarter happened last year. So I think there was originally supposed to be a little bit more of a crunch timeline on Arthurian Legends. But I don't know. So if I had to bet, I would say second half of this year.
Okay.
We do know on the beta, the estimates on the product itself, which we were told, is May, June.
Delivery in major, or shipping from us in May, June.
And then beta was always supposed to happen a month or two after alpha.
Okay.
So I think alpha is a March, April situation.
Ooh. We don't know that, though.
No,
not guaranteed.
That's why I say I think. I'm really good at this.
We actually don't know.
We were having the conversation the other day.
This is just based on information that's floating that everybody else knows.
And I kept saying, hey, it's a top priority, and we're going to try to do this. And then you and Robert were both no, this is happening.
Yeah.
This is a condition. And I was like, well.
Don't want to get all corporate speaky.
I think my default, because of streams, is always to add words I think, I believe.
Yeah.
This is what
we'll try.
From what I know, here's what I expect.
Yeah. Because it's all a total crapshoot.
Yeah, because, when you're just, we were streaming 4 or 5 days a week. So when you're live that much, it's really easy to say things that what's crazy, this is what's nuts to me. The things you say and the things you don't say, even if you didn't specifically say them, set expectations.
Right.
Someone in the Sorcerer Discord this morning I was interacting with was the expectation was that we wouldn't sell beta at all because we said that we weren't serving it through subscriptions with, like we're starting with Arthurian Legends. And it's like, well, we never said
We're
we
not
weren't
serving
selling
through
beta,
subscriptions, but we're not
at some
not
point
selling
pretty
beta.
early. We said we will, if it is happening, we will try to make it available in some way. But you have to be very careful about what you're saying and how you're saying it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
That's true.
expectation.
Yeah, world over.
Anyways, all that to say, this could easily be the last time that we play with these test cards.
All right. I've got an idea. I'm the wild format man. Zach, I say we do one of two things. We take one pile of cards, and that's our deck.
The whole pile?
The whole pile.
Oh my!
And we just see what comes out.
Well, I have this is the fancy cards, which has to go in, depending on the color you pick.
Or we just do no fancy cards.
I also have to pick what I'm going to pick. You know what I mean?
The other thing we could do is we could take 2 stacks and take all the lands for those 2 stacks.
You remember
And
that Master
shuffle it together
Mayhem?
like a commander situation. Like just have a giant deck and see what happens. I don't care. I just want to play the game. So like I don't care about it being good.
That was. You remember the magnetic muzzle?
I do remember
that card
muzzle.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. But like I'm not interested in like trying to deck build in a meaningful way. I would love to take a pile of cards and see what comes out of that pile.
Okay. Well,
Maybe choose
a color.
3 fancy cards each or something. Or
Yeah, we go through here.
okay,
Grab
3
the
fancy
devil's
cards
egg.
apiece. You're grabbing the egg.
I'm not grabbing the egg.
You're not grabbing the egg.
I just wanted to. I'm just looking through these cards.
Thomas Dewitt, will there be starter decks for Sorcery? We're pretty certain there will be beta precons available. Don't know what that means. I don't know what the intent is with Eric. I will say this, and I've said this many times in Discord. If there are not starter decks available for Sorcery, Eric's lost his mind.
Yeah.
Why would you ever design a system that doesn't allow people to start playing the game? It makes no sense.
I also I do know if you buy a booster box, you're probably in a pretty good spot. Like 1 box is going to be a lot.
In terms of your
like we've been
land
playing with
and
this
your stuff.
1 box for, and this is not even like the actual print run box.
And we're 2 packs short.
Like I think we're getting like duplicates of things that you wouldn't get duplicates of because they didn't include every card in this thing.
Right, yeah.
So I would be a box is a ton of content. I'll say that much. So the
Did you pull your cards?
no, I just
fancy cards.
I just went through fancy and saw ones that I am.
How many did you get? 5, 6?
Oh, this is 7.
All right, I'll take 7 and then we'll play.
Oh, I guess I'm playing red.
Yeah, well, there we go.
I was.
Are they all red cards?
No, I was just looking at like what I would actually want to take. You know what I mean? I haven't made my selection yet of the.
But they're all red?
These 2 aren't. But
Okay.
one. It was mostly just I was also grabbing cards that I had stories with. Do you remember the Thunderstorm I had rolling around?
Yes.
Like, it's such a powerful piece of this game, honestly, that I have like a story and an emotional attachment to the card.
I'm gonna play Earth. You didn't take any of those gems, did you?
This one?
Don't take that. I mean, that's a fireword gem, so like that's not really that important for you.
It would not be helpful in a red
No,
deck.
no, great.
Um,
I'm gonna take all my Earth land and then any Earth cards, and I'm gonna go. You want to do the same?
okay, sure. You're Earth.
Yeah, we can do Earth Fire.
This is you.
I'm also gonna take these 7 League boots because that'll be fun.
Let's put the wind and water over here.
Now, of
Some
course,
neutrals.
I want. Oh, I'm going to take the airship too. Can I take that?
You can do whatever you want, man. I do not care. Machination, what's up in the house? Saying, hey guys, been a while since I've caught a live stream. How are you guys enjoying Sorcery? Does it feel like it has enough depth? If that sentence makes any sense, keeping an eye on this one.
Sure.
I love this game.
It's awesome. It brings me back to Decipher stuff.
Yeah, I honestly just can't wait to get our stuff.
Yeah. I'm ready. Okay. I think this is all. Oh, there's the Mordric Druids. Now,
So
we're going to
we'll
play just
play
a
that.
totally random game. This is going to be crazy because it could just be totally slanted one direction or another based on what we draw.
Yeah.
And these are also old cards, so there's some weirder effects in here that are not making it to the final.
I'm gonna take this Battle Mage. I just did it.
There's your stack. You can go through there and get what you need.
I'll take these things I picked earlier.
And then I'll separate land,
And I will be right back.
all my cards. And here's... we're just going to have these fat decks.
gonna be hilarious.
Let's just see what happens, man. I can't wait. It's so cool. Because, like, why not, right? Why not, guys? Look at that. Why not make a deck you can't even shuffle? And then I'll get all of my Earth and Fancy Earth lands. And let's just shuffle them up. See what happens. And of course, I want to play the Seer because it's so good. It's so good in this style of game, especially. So it says, for each spell you would draw, first look at it, and you may put it on the bottom to draw another spell instead. That ability is so strong. Pathfinder, also so strong. Start the game with no sight in your hand. Reveal the next sight on tap. Play it on an adjacent location and move there for free. So I'm going to do the Seer. I'm going to smoke Zach here with this. Justin Derringer, cool comment. I got to help with the playtesting of Sorcery, and I've not had as much fun in a game where I was down to the last hit and crawled my way to victory. I can't wait to get my hands on the real cards, 100%. It has such a good presence on the board. And I know there were some concerns about, you got cards under lands and you're moving things around and stuff, and it's like, it's fine, it works, right? It works. You've seen those Star Wars CCG board states. You just dive in. You don't be scared of it. Just dive in. Oh man. Okay, lands are going. These free cities are sick. Stonehenge, cool. So check this out. Stonehenge minions here have Spellcaster. So thematic. Free city. The city can defend itself with a power of 3 until defeated once. Mirage, you gain some threshold. Northern front line. The front line may be played on a location directly below an enemy's site. Awesome. Awesome. It just gives you a place to start launching dudes. I'm going to take these. I'm going to take them. Don't tell anybody. We'll offer Zach the stack too. He can take them if he wants. Let me take some. Look at that. Whew. I like this, Frank. That's what we do with Wyvern. Is it Wyvern or is it Wyvern? Because I've heard it both ways and I've been corrected in either direction, but I need a source on this. Wyvern or Wyvern? I grew up calling it Wyvern, or saying like in the Monstrous Manual, right? It's like, oh, you're fighting a Wyvern. But I've heard Wyvern now quite a bit too. So are there any experts in the occult folk category that could clear that up for me? I'd be very, very happy to know that. Give that to Zach. And I'm going to start shuffling this massive deck. Hilarious. What are these cards? Oh, those are my... Wait. What's this? Oh, there's the air cards. Oh, I shuffled them all together. Well, that's not helpful. Oops. Oh, hilarious. Well, now it's time to sort. This is what we came here for, right? Pattern recognition. Okay, so these can go to Zach. No, wait, this one's for me, and this one's for me. Okay. These guys are gone. Nobody needs these. We'll stack them over here. And we've got a 5x4 we've got to sort through. These cards are so beautiful. We were thinking like any of these locations, you throw it on a playmat, I think I would have to, like, I would consider buying it. It's the craziest thing. The locations are like just unbelievable, top notch. I might try to get some playmats up for this game. They need to exist. Some of those Kickstarter offerings were top notch. I think I bought one. I can't, honestly, I'm at the point with Kickstarter, I can't remember if I got the playmat or not. Hope I did. That money's long gone. All right, location, Seer, right here in the middle. And now we got to try to shuffle this without damaging these beautiful production cards. Zap got a Great Wall playmat. Yeah, worth it. So many of those cards are just basically built to be playmats. Meant to be. Look at that. This is working. This is fine. Is this how commander decks are shuffled? Do you guys have a formula? I never played Commander. Well, I played Commander once on stream, actually. See, as you introduce more variability and randomness into a game, in many ways it becomes more fun. Like raw fun. Not exhilarating necessarily, but just you gotta have a different culture, different vibe around it. Supervillain always been a Wyvern. Yeah. So we got Wyvern, Wyvern. Aaron DeChamp, will the beta pre-order be the only way to get the beta set, or will it continue to be available throughout the year? So our understanding is that we'll be able to offer that until the end of March, of course. That is true. Where it goes after that, where it's available, even before that point, we honestly don't know. But we are under no impression that we will be the exclusive way to get beta booster boxes. If they go distribution retail and there's a bunch of boxes printed and they may be available for 20% off at various retailers, if that doesn't happen, or if they underprint, there's not a lot available, they may be available for $800 online later on. We have no idea how this is going to go. Collectible games can go all sorts of ways. What we can say is that you can get them for $150, which is MSRP, on our website, pre-order until the end of March, and then we'll deliver those to you. No funny stuff.
KQ Rainbow, are you guys going to check out the Disney TCG when it's out?
I'd love to.
Lorcana.
I'd love to.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
It looks cool enough.
I grew up on Fantasia.
Yeah, talking about all those things we were talking about earlier, though, seems like it's going to be a mass market game, and if
They probably don't really need local retail in that way.
yeah, well, they're doing
Or online
Did you
retail.
see they're doing the local retail release about a month before the mass market release?
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, good for them. Cool.
But-
That's kind of a cool move to make. But I imagine it'll be available in Target and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that won't last terribly long, will it? You can get it while the getting's good, because then it's going to be cheap. Okay. Unless it goes Pokemon, which it could, because like Disney could go
I think
insane.
that's the target.
Yeah. Because then if it's all selling out even at Target, then local hobby retail is like, all right, well,
Well, this sells at Target, but then local hobby retailer gets the second set a month beforehand as well. Then you have a scenario.
But it is one. It's again, it comes back to the conversation of one of those products that are retailers, are local retailers, even Target, going to create demand for Disney Lorcana, or are they just there to initiate the transaction and capture that?
Yeah, and when you
Of course, you gotta have a place to buy it.
when you have
so
12-year-olds buying product, a place to buy it locally is a different value proposition.
yeah, it is. It is more valuable.
Like,
Yeah, you can get Zach and I interested in a game,
dude,
as children.
I don't know if I told you this or not, but on one of the most recent Sorcery streams that we had, I wasn't even thinking about it, honestly. But I remember doing it. I was like, oh no, terrified. Because we were shuffling up like this. Mm-hmm. And I just like rifle shuffled.
Oof.
And I was like, I really shouldn't do that with these cards. Like this.
Ouch.
So then I didn't.
Is it what's 5 over and 4 up?
4 deep, 5 wide, 20 total spots.
Once we need to get like a fisheye camera and we can do that playmat on here.
The big old playmat.
We've got tons of space then, don't we?
Yeah.
Just kind of think about how this board's gonna
What
go.
cards are you even laying out here?
It's not important. Definitely not the production cards.
That's fine. I just didn't know like where they came from or where they were going.
It's all the cards we're not playing with.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna follow the lines. You laying it all out.
I just want to make sure we're in the
You did it.
correct.
Look at this fatty of a deck.
Yeah,
You know what? This might just be how I play Sorcery.
I agree. Like it's that's why people play Commander the way that they do.
It's like, you know what? Just make a 200 card deck.
Just random.
And
Just
you can only
see
have
what
one
stories
of
are
any
told.
card. And let's just see what happens.
That's just Commander, isn't it?
We, boom, we invented a
we've
format.
invented Commander.
Yeah. Big brain geniuses over here.
Okay, and then we'll just replace the card with a land whenever we.
Okay, so I'm playing the Battle Mage.
Oh, hey, do you want any of these in your locations?
No,
Because
that's all
I took some.
I don't care.
Okay.
No fuss.
I offer.
I'm just here to burn someone. Am I going to direct damage kill Steven? Yes. Am I going to enjoy it? Yes.
Is he
So-
gonna enjoy it?
To be determined.
No.
So I'm playing the Battle Mage. I can tap to play or draw a site. When I attack, I can play or draw a site with the Battle Mage.
Okay.
And he attacks for 3. Hot bigoted dang.
Yeah, so you've got infinite availability there.
I basically want him in the battle.
Now let me go get my sorcery.
Kaku Rainbow. Wow, this looks like it's a very unique game.
Oh, it is.
It is exceptionally. Prepare your buckets.
Prepare your buckets.
Frank says, I honestly think it's the best way to play a game like this.
And why not ask that question, you know?
Stefan saying, I just checked out this game's website for the very first time and have to say, the artwork is incredible. It looks really, really nice. Yes, so all the artwork in this game is hand painted, physically, in real life, scanned in, put on the cards. So that's why it feels different. Physically.
I don't think I have that rule book, man.
What rule book?
Oh, I got it. Right here.
Nailed it.
Okay. This is a version 8.2 or whatever, so I don't know if this is actually the way we're supposed to play anymore, but
It doesn't matter.
what are we, 3 and 3 when we start?
Man, we're going to have like an all-day thing when Alpha shows
3 Atlas, 3 Spellbook.
Don't you think?
Yes. Take them all again, put any number of cards on the bottom, and redraw.
Let's see.
Did you shuffle?
Yeah,
Did you not offer me a cut?
I did not.
Technically, the card backs matter, so you can always ask if... Oh, cool.
So,
Dude.
Sketchy saying TCG, CCG, or LCG. TCG and CCG I think are the same thing, but this is definitely a TCG. Steel's Line walked away for a while. Why are they setting all the sites out to begin with? A new game mode. No, these are just face down cards so that
It's
we know
just
where they're
slots.
supposed to go.
That's just slots. You don't really do that.
So I put any number on the bottom. Am I right?
What's that? That's cool, Kaku Rainbow. Yeah, anything you don't want on the bottom there.
No, I'm looking at location.
I'm going to go... Well... I've got these gray wolves, but what's the chances I'm going to draw more gray wolves to pump them up? Low.
No, not 0, though. Dude.
But it is a 2-drop, so that's on curve, as the kids say. All right, I'm going to mulligan 3, 1 land, and then 2...
Gunny, is there a difference between TCG and CCG? Honestly, I think it's literally just a legal thing in the 90s that happened. That's right, Steel Slime, just a placeholder. Kaku's saying, whenever I'm feeling down, I go back to your Netrunner tutorial where Steven said your deck was stuffed like a Christmas pinata. I find you guys so funny. Well, at least one of us is. And I won't tell you which one it is, but I don't think it's me. I'm too serious to be funny. Unless I'm talking about youth slang. The street youths.
Yeah, you're super cool in that area.
Yeah, the kids think I'm awesome.
I've watched New Girl probably 8 times at this point.
I love that show,
Spanish just
dude.
got it on constantly.
Street youths. Schmidt is the best.
Yeah,
At first you think he's a tool, and then eventually you're like, actually, he's just the best.
yeah, he's a lovable tool.
Also, I do that thing Nick does where he leaves the room a lot.
Yeah. Do you do that a lot?
Yeah, I do that to my wife all the time.
Never seen you do it here.
No, well, I'm not fun here. Gotta be serious.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, let's start. You want to see who goes first? Oh, I need health. Hold on, I need my health.
Even Steven?
Do you have my little... Oh, my fab board is in my...
It was odd.
I'm just gonna do D20s or D10s here.
I rolled odd.
Okay, do you want to go first or second?
What's the difference?
First player doesn't draw a card during their first upkeep phase or whatever.
I'll go second. We like the cards.
Okay. All right, here's my health.
Kaku's saying these 2 cards on the table right now look like proxies. They are, because the avatars got updated to the new rules. The cards in our hand actually are genuine test prints.
You said you're going second?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, I don't get to draw a card.
You run the seer again?
Yeah.
Is it seer or seer?
Seer.
That's so good.
So I don't get to do anything draw-wise on my first turn. Yeah, it is. It's great, in fact. It's very good.
Cool.
So the first move I've got to do, if I can, is I got to play a site under my... so I'm going to tap to play a site.
Brent, how you doing, man? I love seeing your name. Aaron says, I ordered a case through the Kickstarter. Should I keep that sealed and wait for beta to release? That's up to you.
Invest in index funds.
I'm planning to open my alpha and use it. That's why I bought it.
You got those little tiny foot soldiers anywhere? If you don't, I have a solution.
I don't think I do.
Okay. I'm gonna grab some.
When you
and
texted me
use.
this morning, I already left. Otherwise, I would have. I took the old pre-con test print cards we got home. I was cleaning out my office around the holidays, and they came with those little mini foot soldiers. Kaku's saying, when is Covenant going to release their own TCG, or even better, an LCG? Well, unlikely to do an LCG, because that's legally owned by FFG. Also, not any current plans to make our own game. There's a lot of things we want to solve in tabletop and make better. There's a lot of people making great games, so we're focused on a lot of the other problems that we see. That's so good.
All right, I got my 1/1 foot soldiers here from Arena Rex.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that looks awesome.
That's good. Brent saying, doing great. Excited to be watching it live. I plan on playing with all my alpha, and then maybe I want beta too. So I'm.
This looks so awesome.
It does. I like
We
it.
got to do this. Forever.
Miniatures?
Yeah, minis for foot soldiers.
Let me talk to Eric. Let's just let's spend some official foot soldiers. The question, personal dilemma I have is if I want to order 4 boxes of beta to get that promo playset or not. I really do not need the boxes. I really don't. I'm trying to control myself.
Yeah, good.
But I do want that promo really bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that you have that dilemma. So now I have 1 Earth site, which should have 1 Earth mana. I'm going to spend 1 Earth mana for Common Sense. Search your spellbook for an ordinary card. Put it in your hand, show it to your opponent, etc.
Hey, good luck.
I'm going to take the first half and see if I find anything worth having there.
Sealslam says, forget TCGs, I want Covenant Con. We talked about CovCon for a long time.
Yeah, we probably should do that. Probably should do that, man. Okay, so this is a good one to pull. I really need a 4-drop ordinary, ideally. Hey, here's a land in here. I don't know why that's there. Let's get that out of there. Okay.
Brent says, that's my dilemma too. Those promos look amazing, and incorporating something TC in them is great. Yeah. It's a struggle. I think about it every day. I have till March, though.
I think about it every day to day.
Don't start singing I Believe I Can Fly. As a MJ fanatic as a kid, you can imagine I saw Space Jam. And Bugs Bunny was like one of my favorite things in the world.
Dude, then you had everything you wanted.
It was glorious, yeah. I love Space Jam. I had the jersey. I had the secret stuff bottle.
Space Jam.
I had the drawing books. I mean, I had the little figurines of Bugs and Michael Jordan and their Toon Squad jerseys.
I'm getting Belmont Longbowman. Range +1.
Justin, any live stream of Earthborn Rangers in the works? Well, when we finally get it in our hands, you can imagine we would probably stream it.
Waiting for that one to come in.
Clapping Cardboard saying a Covenant Con would be awesome. Vinyl Community College.
VCC.
I like the name. Saying, haven't kept up with Sorcery. I heard the creator of the person hired for marketing or something was unhinged and made a bad impression. Maybe on Fluke and Box Channel. I vaguely remember. I haven't heard any of that. So
no, I don't. If you're talking about Simon left recently, but he was far from unhinged. He was as hinged as they come.
Justin Derringer, when is the last day to buy beta? So our pre-orders
March 31st.
are going to go through March 31st, cut off on April 1st, is the plan as it sits now.
Over to you.
All right. And I get to draw a card from either one.
Yep.
We got the big one. Hello, beautiful. I will tap the Battle Mage. We're going to play a Remote Desert. I guess I can get rid of this.
Yeah, Phenomenax, that's awesome. I love the Team Code event talking about FuseFest. It was a really nice moment when Zach went up to a small group of us and legitimately asked I'll put him over here and then we'll figure out where they go. Legitimately asked what we thought of FuseFest. I would go to a Covenant Con.
Wow.
And they said, I hate it, and I hate you.
That is exactly what they said. And then I just left. Phenomenax, what if you're willing to share it, I'd be curious to know who you are, what your name is. It was a great weekend. So I have 1 resource, you're saying?
Mm-hmm. 1 land, 1 money.
Yeah, I'll pass. Over to you.
Okay. I really don't want to connect with you if I can keep from it, because that Battle Mage gets better the more that you're in the game.
Yep, I'm coming right at you. Clapping Cardboard, the promo should be Steven as Water Elemental.
That would be cool. I can't remember. Can the avatars attack lands?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they function like a unit would.
All right, at the start of the turn, I'm gonna.
Phenomenon. What is Tom? My first. It was his first constructed guy. That was the round 1, I think. His first physical game in a tournament was against me.
I'm gonna draw using the Seer, and I'll keep this card. And then.
How does Seer read?
Anytime you would draw it, first look at it, and you can bottom it and draw the next one.
Unbelievable. In a game with the limited amount of draw we get, that ability is that how it is? Is it get printed like this? Asking for a friend.
Who knows, man?
That he's gonna have to see this Seer over and over and over again.
All right, let's just have a game. I'm gonna go in.
Machination saying I would hunt around eBay for a Water Steven Intel for sure. Kaku says, did you guys check out Vampire Masquerade expandable game? Not best for your channel, as it's best with
Renegade.
players.
Yeah, we didn't.
Well, there was one from Renegade and one from the old school VTS.
Oh yeah, the old guys.
Eternal Struggle, but they are built for like several player situations.
I'm gonna.
You just said you don't want to connect with me, and then all of a sudden.
Well, I just said I'm gonna play the game.
Okay.
I'm gonna tap the foot soldier here to move. Look at that, so awesome, dude. It's so awesome. And then I'll pay 2 to put some nice Gath gnomes down here. So these are 2/2, burrowing, and they can unburrow at any site in the span of Earth.
What's these guys' stats?
1/1.
Asking for a friend. Okay, burrowing.
Yeah, they're burrowed.
Watch out! I might flood that location with my fire. Joshua, I absolutely cannot wait to get my hands on some of this product. Obviously, the art is incredible, but also as a CCG sorcery, just has such a refreshingly unique play style and mechanics. It really does.
Yeah. I've done this before. I've given you like foot soldiers to just blow up with a fireball, but it's fine.
Saw someone the other day saying that they thought sorcery
Look at how good this looks.
was an overhyped, collectors-only, investable TCG hype game. Mm-hmm. The gameplay was like
the
not
idea
thought
that you
out.
can manufacture hype though. It's a product that people want. Therefore, it's just like people want it.
But like,
leave them alone.
We played a lot of games, a lot of card games, a lot of old card games.
Maybe the most of anyone on YouTube.
I mean, maybe,
given the throwback series,
the width of our experiences in card games is intense.
You haven't played until you played Tomb Raider.
But like, I don't know. This game is great.
Yeah, I just like it every time.
It drives me crazy when I see those takes. Anyways, my turn?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Drop it, dude.
I have to draw. So I technically have there. I've got time. Let's draw a location. That's not a location. Okay. It's just like, that ain't it.
Can you imagine somebody thinking they're about to tune into some high-level sorcery gameplay?
Then they get us.
No, we just want to... No, this is what it's about. I'm not looking to go win worlds, whatever that is.
Let's play the Battle Maggie. Let's get rid of whatever this is. Where's that card?
Yeah.
We're going to play an arid desert and do a damage to one of your...
All right, you got it. I like this one. At least fridge.
Your civilians, as they say in the biz. What's splash damage?
It hits everything on the land.
What about under the land?
No.
Asking for a friend.
It explicitly does not do that.
Okay.
Weaseling around.
We're going to play some rattlesnakes here. I love those rattlesnakes.
Okay.
They have burrowing and lethal. So if they damage you, you're gone.
Yeah, right on.
Buyer beware. Pass over to you. Joshua says, speaking of old defunct CCGs, and yes, you two have played pretty much all of them online. Have you ever looked at the Sim City CCG? I remember it actually being pretty fun. I have not. But ironically, Kaku is saying, that sounds right up my street. Did you play SimCity? You surely played SimCity. Everyone played SimCity.
Video game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. I played SimCity.
We all dreamed of being city builders. I always like turning the disaster mode on. Like a tornado hits and you have to solve it.
Wow. This says a lot about you. Okay.
I like that you just say it and move on. That says a lot about you as a person, and I'm going to not address that any further. I'll see you next week. Clap and cardboard. What was that? I wanted to hear. I thought it said clappuccino because that's what old Prism Mike used to say. Easy clappuccino. What he's asking? Favorite throwback. You know what? Steven's actual answer is Netrunner, but that's a cheat answer.
It's BattleTech.
BattleTech. That's a really good one.
BattleTech for me.
Yeah.
I grew up on BattleTech. I love BattleTech. Yeah. I thought the game was great. It's Richard Garfield. Can you hate it?
I've had a lot that I really liked, but 7C always sticks out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just don't really understand how much you like pirates until you play 7C. I was always a big Peter Pan, Captain Hook fan. But yeah, it was 7C is really high on my list. There's a lot of them though. I'd have to look at the list. Tomb Raider was surprisingly good.
Dark Ages was wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rattlesnake's a bit of an issue.
Good.
Because you can move and attack a unit, right?
Yeah.
So anything I put here, is like...
It dies.
But I could block with this unit if you attack.
That's right.
And that's important.
That is important.
Okay, then.
Cyanide saying, don't forget to play Boy Crazy. Well, let me tell you.
We're just waiting.
I see this every day. Look at this thing. This is a game that got made. Which
it maybe had a good intention behind it.
Someday we will unpack. Can I just read this paragraph real quick?
Yeah, please.
Boy Crazy is a new trading card game designed just for girls. This set includes 363 randomly assorted cards featuring photos and profiles of real boys from around the country. God. Hold on. Get to know the boys as you collect, trade, and play a simple matchmaking game with your friends. Vote for your favorite Boy Crazy boys at boycrazy.com. It really got printed. Also, have you seen this with all the faces?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The mistake was not trying to think about how to get more women engaged with TCGs. The mistake, I think, was thinking that what all that girls want is boys. I think that's probably where they went wrong.
There are various moments where I think the train went off of the tracks, but
that's neither here nor there, is it?
Here we are.
Okay, I'm going to pay 3 on a very risky play. The Belmont Longbowmen here. They've got range +1, which is an answer to the Rattlesnake, as long as they stay on the table. I've got plenty of blockers, so if Zach wants to try to come in and kill the bowman, I can block. But if he's got fireballs, it's a problem.
There's a longbowman.
So we'll find out what he's got.
They're super good. Mean Mug and Game say now this year you may cast 1 dead minion each turn, and for 0 if you're on death's door.
That's insane.
Whenever you summon a minion this way, banish it.
That's completely different. Completely different.
Yeah. This is
probably because this is too good.
The permanent opt is really strong. Yeah. Mine?
Yep.
All right, let me see.
I've never played a game that I care less about what happens and equally love what's happening. It almost like a miniatures game where you're just happy to have it on the table.
Yeah, you are. Let's draw from here and see what we get.
Hope you don't get an answer to that Bowman. Cooper? If at some point Cooper Bowman is actually watching this,
please say something.
Please say something, Cooper. We went to high school and middle school with Cooper Bowman, and so every time we say Bowman, we say Cooper Bowman, which is hilarious to Zach and I.
Yeah. It's like
it means nothing to everybody
else.
There's
a device called a Roland, and we had a friend called Philip Roland.
Yeah.
So every time someone says you got the Roland, we're like, a Philip Roland? So no, the card I drew is really important here.
Okay, good.
It's called, I'll just reveal it. It's called Boil. 0 cost. Counter a target water spell. Or destroy a water target near your spellcaster.
Oh, you can get rid of that.
Look at that.
Draw a new one.
It's blank.
Draw a fresh one. It's blank.
Blank is, I'll prove it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we get.
Fresh either.
I'll return the favor. You draw it. Yeah, think of it.
If anything's literally unplayable, we can get a redraw.
Ooh, I love that.
See, look, you've got the seer ability yourself. You can just skirt through your unnecessary cards.
Okay. Let's get clever.
Don't forget summoning sickness too, of course.
Shan't we? I'm gonna exhaust here to play a site. We're gonna play. Which one do I want?
Yeah, you peek behind the curtain there. It's funny, you get to a point where you don't want to be the guy not drawing land, because then you can't build the map, you know?
I'm gonna play Shifting Sands. Until the end of turn, minions summoned nearby can move and attack right away.
That's nearby here. Okay, got it.
I'm not gonna use
Is that
it.
cardinal?
Nearby?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or is that full?
There's a word for
Is there adjacent and nearby?
adjacent is cardinal, nearby
Okay.
is the full circle. I'm gonna move the snake.
Right on.
You'll
We
see why.
successfully pushed the snake off of the position there.
So then I'm going to play a Heat Ray as
Okay.
my caster. So in these 3 spots, we're gonna do 2 splash damage.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, foot soldier gone.
Uh-huh.
Belmont gone.
Yeah, great.
That's a 2. I told you you had to not have a fire spell.
Which-
And I'll take 2 to the seer.
Spoiler.
Does it say all things or just units?
Deal 2 splash damage.
Okay. I think
And
that's
a line in any card
all things.
direction.
Luckily, I'm burrowed back here, so
Yeah,
no problem.
You did save something.
No problem.
And then I'll pass it over to you.
Okay.
Easy peasy.
Rattlesnake's still a problem. I'm just gonna. I just can't fight the aggro desire here. Can't do it. Dude.
We will fight.
I can't do it. I'm gonna draw a card here. Okay, I'm gonna. That one's a kind of an unplayable one for me. So. What's up?
Machination. If I ever do a new Netrunner TCG, I'm screwed. Ballistic says, I wonder how the snakes will die this time.
I would not lie, or I would not. I won't. I'm telling you the truth.
No cap.
We would love to do a new Netrunner anything, and we would actively be pursuing that in a world where that's possible, and we may be in that world. Guess we'll find out. All right, I'm gonna tap my seer. Push this up here.
Dan says, you better watch that Zach guy, Steven. He's shifty. Jordan says, ever since he started growing out his hair, he's become more and more evil, with equaling the length of his hair. I don't know why that's the case, but I'm not against it. Frank says, I think we live in a world where that's possible.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of move up the.
Look at these random... We're playing a miniatures game here or a card game?
Look at these dudes.
I do like it.
I'm going to replay the Bowman here. I do another Bowman. Cooper. Then I'm going to tap my gnomes to unburrow here.
I'm about to do something that's just going to make your head spin.
And then at the end of the round, I can burrow them again. So the gnomes are going to take a forward position here. They sneak up. So you can unburrow them anywhere in Earth, and then you can burrow them again at the end of the turn.
They're gnoming around.
They're gnoming around. I hope you don't have any direct removal.
Far from gnome.
And then I'll pass it to you. I mean, this is obviously a very vulnerable position to be in, but
Dylan, the miniatures are actually, what do you call them, townfolk?
yeah, they're the
Villagers?
I'm gonna play this. Well, do I want everybody over here? Here's what I'll do. I'll switch these. I've learned my lesson, Zach. I'm gonna put the gnomes here, and I'm gonna not
just
get in a
sit
straight
in
line
fireball,
to the
yeah?
fire mage. Yeah, that's the idea.
Clay, smart.
Okay.
Me?
Yeah.
Let's draw a location. That's the thing.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna tap this and move this here as well. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it, dude. Don't worry about it. It's just let it happen. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna do something fun.
All right. I like fun. You gonna put a boulder down or something?
No, it's better.
Oh, great. Cool. Can't wait to see what kind of
Like this,
ruining my plans you're gonna do today.
this. To be honest, this is Oh yeah, this right. This is just It's why we love this game. Really.
Big moment.
It's just why we love this game.
Why you love it or why I love it?
It's why I love it.
Probably not why I love it.
I'm gonna tap here to draw a site.
Oh, so you're not? Did you get your turn draw?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're also drawing a site. Wow. So he's not playing a site.
Hold on, that's an earth site.
Okay, we don't need that. That's supposed to be with me.
Why is in the deck?
Well, I'm supposed to have those. Why did you take my earth
I don't
sites?
know.
I don't want
here,
these.
put those in your earth. Those are earth, right?
Yeah, but I don't need these.
Okay. I was just like kept drawing earth sites. Where did they even come from?
You probably thought they were fire because they kind of look fiery.
They look fiery. Okay. All right. This is what I mean by fun, and I hope that some of these cards remain through the testing. I'm gonna play a Sandstorm. Cost me 3. Conjure at the intersection of 2 or 4 sites, as long as at least one of them is fire. When the minion's on affected site, move or attack, instead roll a d20.
It's this card?
Yeah, right
Oh,
here.
I hate this card. Hold on, I got a d20 ready for action.
It makes me happy though, man. I'm so happy. It's just chaos.
I'm here for your
So,
happiness.
when you activate a minion on any of these sites,
yeah, to
you roll a
move or
d20.
attack?
Move or attack. 17 through 20, they do normal.
Okay, well,
But
that's
otherwise,
easy.
they do other things.
This is an ancient d20.
1 through 4, they move left. 5 through 8, they move up. 9 through 12, they move right. 13 through 16, they move down. And 17 through 20, they do the normal. I'll walk you through it when we get there.
Look at this die. This is crazy.
What is it?
It's got a 0 and a 2 1s on it. I don't know what that is. This madness.
It's the Cheaty McGillicuddy die.
That was the cheating.
What is even happening here?
Well, it's a good way to
owns
never get out of the
this? Is this
sandstorm.
Bryce's?
That's Bryce's, yeah.
Yeah, he would be stuck permanent. Actually, you know what? I think you should use this one. It would be good for all of us.
All right, I got a real d20 here. Okay.
Kaku, yeah, you can move your sorcerer. So you can tap to draw, on these at least, draw a site or play a site. But you can also move them like a minion. So you can exhaust to move or exhaust to move and attack.
Cool, man.
That'll be my turn.
Cool.
Just a little mid-board sandstorm.
Darude style. Okay. Well, we need to get away from that. I reckon. Just the worst guy.
Oh, man.
Just the worst guy.
Let me see what it does. There's a website called Curiosa.io that has all the cards on it that have been revealed so far. Let's just see if Sandstorm's out. So the new Sandstorm says affected sites and units atop them can't be attacked or intercepted. At the start of your turn, dispel Sandstorm.
That's cool. But
Cost
this one's
1.
cooler. I like it.
Yeah.
We just play with the, we like to play, we'll play with the, these are alpha cards, right? These are the alpha text? Or is this before alpha?
Pre-alpha.
Yeah. Yikes. Okay, Steven's gonna draw a site. I'm a site guy. You're a not a site guy. I'm a site guy.
What?
You don't draw sites as often as I do.
I play more on the ground. Less resources. Like Netrunner Savant Timmy. Timmy, right? What was his name?
Timmy Wong?
He'd just play such minimal cards and credits.
He is awesome. Truly amazing. Okay. Understood. Okay. Okay, can you tell me so what happens? What are the odds here?
Basically, there are 4 numbers that move you down, 4 numbers that move you right, 4 numbers that move you up, 4 numbers that move you left.
What if I can't move there?
Then you just stay where you're at.
You just go through. It doesn't just work.
Doesn't just work. But if you roll 17 through a 20, you do whatever you were trying to do. It's about a 1 in 5 chance, 20% odds of doing what you want.
I gotta get away from this.
Yeah, and then if you make it here, you have to do it again to get out of there, right? Otherwise, you just get tangled, you get lost in the sandstorm. Oh, man, I love it.
This is not the land I wanted at all. I hate this land.
Yeah, well, sometimes it'd be like that.
Does this only affect units? Can my avatar get through here no problem?
It says when
Minions.
minions.
Okay, so my avatar can run the
see
game
through the
here.
storm. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually just move here.
Yes, get mine.
And then we're gonna do it. Actually, I'm gonna hold this in case it will matter. So first, I'm gonna attempt to attack this site with this foot soldier. Would you like to block with your rattlesnakes?
Well, you do 20 first.
D20 first. Okay.
And we see what happens.
They're going to get scattered to the freaking wind, dude.
Yeah, come on. Let's go.
All right.
18. You get to do what you want.
Yes.
Yeah, this is 1-1.
All right. Would you like to block with rattlesnakes? It's next door and it's untapped, so it can swing in and block if you'd like.
I would not. I'll take a damage.
Okay. 1 damage to the site. Boom. We'll tap that soldier. All right. Well, let's keep the onslaught coming, buddy.
Yeah, let's go.
We'll attempt to
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
12.
Okay, so 12 means you move to the right.
So I cannot move any further right. All right.
Then
We're tapped.
you are exhausted.
Okay.
Got lost in the sandstorm. KH McClure, oh baby, sorcery is on the table once again. What a blessed day.
It's a great day. It's a great day in real life.
My grandpa used to sing it all the time.
Oh, it's such a good song, man. Such a good song. Okay. All right, we can't while out too much here. Oh, we want to play a site, but we don't want to play this site. Mm-hmm. Okay, we could organize a trade, I suppose.
What is this, NAFTA?
Deep cuts there. All right, we will play.
Politics is in the air.
Play Gnome Hollows over here.
Oh, yes, dude. You're totally going to have a gnome deck, aren't
Minions
you?
with more than 3 power cannot traverse the hollows. Then we'll tap our burrowed gnome to unburrow here. And I will stay there. I will not burrow at the end of the turn. Because if you want to do a 2-2 trade here, the gnomes are okay with that. I'd love to trade a rattlesnake for anything else. And then I've got to play. I've got 3 money. And I think I'm just going to embrace the sandstorm. No, I'm not. I'm going to play some Slumbering Giants here. They're asleep until damaged.
Okay. Love it.
But I can attack them with my little minions and spur them to power.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Over to me.
Yeah.
Let's draw from this pile.
Or you can make them up for me if you'd like.
All right.
Yeah, Dexter, we talked for like an hour about beta and a lot of things entailing that. You can just rewind it on the live, or you can wait until the stream's over. Watch it back.
Let's tap here. We're gonna play a red desert here and do a damage here.
You got it.
I'll pass
It's already
this
laying
way.
down anyway.
And then I will play Quarrelsome Kobolds there.
Mm-hmm.
And it says at the end of your turn, they have to deal 3 damage to a nearby minion.
They may or they must.
They must.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have to move him up.
Yeah. So, end of my turn, I'll target those.
You got it. These poor longbowmen. So many answers. All right, my turn.
Um,
I'm going to rattlesnake in.
no, I'm good.
You sure?
KH McClure, I'm using the Battle Mage. Steven is using the Seer. Old school.
You want to do anything with your rattlesnakes, anything like that? Nothing?
They're cool.
They're cool.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, you got something crazy going on here. Maybe. Okay. I'll draw a sight. Oh, that would have been so good. Oh. Bummer. Okie dokie. Move and attack is cool, right?
Yeah, it's real cool.
Do that. Real cool, man.
Real cool, dude.
Real cool. Now, is this, if I initiate here, does Sandstorm hit me, or is it when I'm moving into it?
If you're on the location, you try to move or attack in any form, you get Sandstorm.
You're the absolute worst.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. High compliments.
All right.
Clapping Cardboard, does the Kickstarter come with a rule book, or will it be PDF online only? I think the precons would, but I don't think the boxes are going to.
All right, gnomes are going to come in at the rattlesnake.
Yeah, okay.
Trade up.
Fine.
Seer's going to attack the giantess.
Excellent.
She's now awake.
And wait, does the giantess damage you back?
Yeah. Wait, I can't do that, can
Yeah,
I?
I don't think I would.
I don't want to do that with my guy.
Yeah, 25% of your health for.
I could certainly try it, though, with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, you may as well.
You know, but I just got to make it toss to the freaking winds.
I mean, you never know where you're going to end up. Be careful, even, you know. You never know where you're going to get swept off to.
All right, let's try to attack my giantess.
Okay, the win condition is getting your opponent to 0, but once you go to 0, you're on death's door and you can't die that turn.
What's 11 say?
11 is move to the right. Yeah. Once you get them to 0, they're at death's door and they cannot die that turn. You have to then damage them on a subsequent turn. So it creates actually a really intriguing endgame state.
That's the worst possible place.
You've been Sandstorm, bro. Those kobolds are coming at you. You're feeding to the kobolds, actually. They love it.
I know, yeah, that's problematic. It's all very problematic.
This has gone very good.
All right.
Very, very good.
I'm going to play a land here. I'm going to play Vandal Chills. Range is +1 for ranged minions
nice,
there.
Nice.
I'm trying to cut you off at the pass there.
Yeah, you're doing it.
And then I will pass.
Okay. Let's draw from the Magical Mystery deck here. Ah, interesting. That's good. Very good.
Sandstorm is so good.
It is good.
It single-handedly ruined everything. Everything.
I do like it.
Everything. Ha! Hate it.
All right, so I'm gonna exhaust here, and we're gonna play a Shifting Sands over here.
Very nice.
Think someone nearby can do their thing immediately. I'm gonna play Beast of Burden. They can carry an allied minion. They were summoned nearby to this, so they can do their thing this turn. So I'm gonna attack this location for 3.
You got it.
Then I will pass at the end of turn. They'll do 3 damage to a nearby minion. So
You got it.
Smoke.
Sandstorm feeds the kobolds.
Yeah, we did it.
Right on. Okay, and we'll let him deal with himself. All right, let's wake up. Let's draw with Seer. Let's try again.
These cards look so good. I'm really excited for everyone to get these in person. It's a different experience.
Okay. I gotta wake that giant up. Dang.
Snooze fest over
That
there.
minion was supposed to do it.
Yeah, it's a shame that Sandstorm showed up. You know what I mean?
Before. All right, I don't want to play anything into this dumb Sandstorm. That's the other problem here. But I think I just have to let you attack this. Attack this freaking land. So dumb.
How do I always end up in this situation?
Now, I could, optionally, I could take 5 damage here to give the giantess a, 25% chance of killing your Beast of Burden. Wrong.
25% of your health for a 25% chance to remove a unit?
Yeah, easy. I'm about to take 3 anyway, though, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, we need a new staging ground. This is what we need. But we don't want to stage yet. No. We kind of got to answer your Beast of Burden here.
You love to see it.
All right, I'll just play Grey Wolves here.
Nice.
And then I'll tap Draw Site. Over to you.
All right, let's ready. Let's draw from here. Okay, interesting. Okay. How much life do you have over there?
15. What the heck were you asking that?
I'm
That's
just
crazy.
asking for a friend, dog.
That's crazy.
Just asking for a friend. Why are you asking this?
It's crazy. Why would that possibly be a question that's relevant right now?
Are you going to do that? Oh boy.
Didn't Coralsome get a real big change?
The kobolds?
Yeah. I think all of you, the cards you're playing got changed, and all mine are the same.
At the end of the turn, they strike themselves or another target adjacent unit.
Adjacent, okay. Yeah, nearby is pretty crazy. But hey, they got to get in that sandstorm to matter here.
Yeah, they really do. I think they have to hit themselves if they don't.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm debating. Well, let's start here. I'm going to kobold here for 3 to you.
Yeah, you got it.
And then I have a solution. I have a solution. I think it's the right solution.
Deploy.
Actually, yeah. Okay. I'll attack this location for 3.
You got it.
Yeah. I'm gonna play Ogre Goons over here.
All right, we got
They must attack an enemy minion available, so there are no any. They can't attack this round anyway.
Sure.
But then I'm gonna use my last remaining resource to play Haste to give them +1 movement and let them attack and move this turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna attack this location for 4.
They can attack and move. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Does
so-
that? What does that say?
Haste. Target minion gets +1 movement and may move, attack right away when summoned.
Okay, cool. Do 4.
Do 4.
Go to 5.
That's why I was asking the numbers on this. It also gives me a minion that has health that I can hit instead
Sure.
of a giant.
Yeah,
For free.
yeah. Makes sense.
And then I'm going to move my battle mage here to queue up for the inevitable end game here. And then pass to you.
All right. All right, Sandstorm. Let's do a draw from the top.
All right, Sandy Storm.
I'll take this.
Question coming in from KQ. Yeah, once you're at Death's Door, you can't like currently, you can't Death's Door. So once you get to that point, no healing cards would recover you past that 1 health that you have left on Death's Door. And these technically take 3, which I don't think heals until the start of my next turn.
So they still have 1 health.
Yeah.
I wish it mattered more than it does.
Dang.
Okay. Well, I would like to have some certainty around my attacking of everything, but it is currently not the case.
Sandstorm's gonna be one of those cards now that I will never forget.
Never forget this card.
May she forever be. What was I looking at earlier? That was it. The Boyle card I was talking about earlier is by Brian Smith. I noticed that name because it's on the Lightning Bolt promo as well.
Range gets +1. Okay. I think I'm gonna try. Yeah. I'm gonna wake these guys up here.
With the wolves.
Yeah, well, so if I do that, the problem is if I do that, they would die to the beast. Do these counter? They don't counter if they're tapped, is that right?
I don't think so.
I don't think they do.
Maybe? Let me see that.
I think they have to tap to counter, because you can optionally not counter to not tap. Pretty certain.
I think it's just been a while.
You can look through it. Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do Gray Wolves into the. I'm awake. Okay.
So whenever one of your units or sites is attacked, untapped units already on the location may block the attack without needing to tap. If you have untapped units strictly adjacent to the target, you may also tap any of those units to move them to the site in question and then block. So I think if you're untapped, you just block even without tapping. But I am tapped, so I can't block.
Can't block. So you just take it. Take it. All right, well, let's see how bad this can go.
Who's
Slumbering Giantess is going to try to do 5 to your beast. Because it won't swing back, right?
Right.
We agree?
7?
All right, where do we go instead?
That's
Yeehaw!
It's going to be a move up. That's progress.
Does it can't... I still tap to do that, right?
Yeah.
Technically. Can I attack that instead, you know?
I have no idea.
No, I don't.
But I don't think so.
I know that I don't. We'll play Vanguard Knights over here.
Okay.
They're 5 power because they're the furthest... Wait. Alone as the furthest... No longer the furthest forward. Okay, that's
Dang.
fine. That's fine. We'll play the Amazon Warriors there instead. There's some 5/6 there.
They're so good.
Then we ask questions. Because, like, you're having to deal with that sandstorm, too.
Welcome to your doom. Yes.
What happens when your mage ends up on the void, theoretically?
I think they can void walk if they get pushed out there.
Mm-hmm. But they, like, have to? Don't they, like, have to try to get off the void, or can they just hang out there?
Let's take a peek.
I'm just going to end up on death's door here, and I'm okay with it.
Jared says they can't be pushed into the wood.
Can't be. Just can't be?
Jared says, I don't know.
Well, I sure
Jared
as
seems
heck
like a
I'm gonna
trustable
try.
guy. Yeah, I don't think they can unless they have void walker.
This beast of burden is unruly.
He is indeed a beast of burden. Your burden. My beast.
Okay, I think I'm just gonna hold on here. And let's get into it. Let's get into it here. Let's draw a site. All right.
Over to me?
And over to you, yeah.
Let's draw from deck.
Darude is crushing me right now.
What is?
Darude, your Sandstorm.
What's the read?
I did the Sandstorm song.
That sandstorm was killing.
It's like it's happened a few times in the games that we've played.
Yeah.
Drop something and it just makes me incapable of doing anything.
I feel like it's almost every time, actually.
Almost every time. We love it.
I love it.
We love it, man.
See, you like to struggle, and I like to prevent.
You like to win. It's a great partnership.
It really is. It's a good pairing here. Well, let's just swing for 3 with the Beast of
that
Burden.
seems good.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna battle mage here for 3.
Okay. Into the thing.
Oh wait, technically, hold on. You can block that.
I sure can.
Let me think about my life.
I got big blocks.
And I cannot lie. Interesting.
If my slumbering giants get anywhere, you're done, buddy. I'm gonna roll that sweet 18, or they'll be dead anyway.
Yeah, we'll try it. I'm gonna battle mage in.
Okay.
You can technically block with your Amazons if you want it.
I do 6 to you. I don't lose. I don't drop the board, but your kobolds kill me at the end of the turn.
Yes.
Or I go to death's door. I've got to work on a board position situation here. But I'm also basically it's all about whether your goons are going to be able to come off of there and attack, because they have to attack a minion. So they can either try to attack the giantess or over here. If they roll where they get to do it, then I take 4 and I die from the quarrelsome kobolds anyway. You lose the goons. Because like right now, I can safely move around. And I don't want to necessarily jump into the freaking sandstorm.
Yeah, like you could play a location here and have a sneak
and I could
attack.
start launching into your red desert back there, and all your units are tied up.
Yeah, but you're also having to deal with the death door problem.
I just don't know that you can get to me. You got a sandstorm in the middle of everything.
Well, my mage can just keep moving.
Yeah.
Plus, I can play stuff over here, right? I'm like,
Yeah. But the moment your mage keeps moving, it's like now I have the potential to actually just take you down.
Yeah, what you hope I don't have is a magical spell that just nukes you from downtown.
It's very likely that that's the case.
The odds increase every time.
It's very likely.
Yeah.
It's very likely.
Goblin Reserve. Oh no, he says words I won't say. Did I miss a live stream with y'all? You did. You can roll it back. The first hour and a half, we just talked about the beta, pre-order, and distribution, and the industry.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll in a block. Yeah.
Okay.
On
So
6.
I take how many?
You take 6.
Health's a resource, right?
Health's a resource. I'll take 3 there.
All right.
I like the chunkiness of it. In an ideal sorcery game, we can just sprawl way out when we're not on stream. We can like double the space and have a big zone for every. Again, it feels like a minis game.
Yeah. Ogre Goons will attempt to attack your Amazon warriors.
You got it.
Let's see what we get. A 1.
Kills himself.
Not good. Moves left. So I come over there, you come over here. We'll let everything else hang out. End of the round, they'll do 3 damage there.
2A nearby. I wish it was splash damage. That would have been better. For me.
Oh wait, I haven't played anything yet.
You haven't done anything.
Not the end of the
wait,
turn,
wait
yeah.
for a second. If it matters, we'll.
I'm gonna play another Ogre Goons here.
That's good.
Just more defense.
All right, over to me.
Thank you, Sandstorm, for being you. Why are you the way that you are?
All right, let's draw. Seer. Don't need that one.
We have seen.
Okay. reasonable. All right, so we've got a million different ways that this happens. Kobold's shutting that down. Okay. All right, well. Well.
What do we have here? He's wiggling.
Okay. Giantess is going to attempt to attack here.
Okay. I was like, why attempt? I don't know what I'm going to do about it. A 2. That's going to get you a fancy move left.
All right.
You at least get out. She's out of the storm.
We're out of the storm. Woo! Okay.
That sandstorm has been MVP.
It's crazy.
MVP goat.
I hate it.
He says with a smile on his face, I hate it. Through clenched teeth. Have
You got yourself a bit. You got a quarrelsome kobold problem though, so I'm okay.
Have you seen the colored version of this card? Look at this thing.
Oh, it's so good. Is that Jesse doing that?
Yeah. The Battle Mage. I'm gonna need that in foil. You hear me?
Seer is gonna play.
Let me look. Is the Elementalist also?
Sight. We're gonna play a Humble Village.
It's by Elvira. A Humble Village.
Mm-hmm.
So humble they named it that. Goblin Reserve. So excited to start playing Sorcery. Moose, I'm about 45 minutes behind the stream, but love the content. I'm in for 2 alpha boxes, 2 beta boxes, and an Arthurian Legends subscription. Cannot wait for release. Well, hey, Moose, thank you for subscribing. Couldn't do anything we do without our subscribers and all of our players, so appreciate the support.
Okay. Next up.
Daniel Crowley. I had no idea I was getting Sorcery today. Well, surprise on you. Zach take damage from the Giantess. Muad, I think the Sandstorm just turns it into a move instead of
it doesn't get the
move and
attack, sadly.
I'm happy to take the damage if I'm incorrect on that.
Okay, I gotta cover my... So these guys attacking in is a guarantee.
Right there on the box.
There's all sorts of bad things you could have, but I'm gonna try to cover my... I'm gonna try to cover my situation here. But we gotta get a beast covered.
Also, these guys on this location are guaranteed.
Huh?
This is your location.
Yeah.
So they just...
Yeah, I gotta play something there, though.
Yeah. Then I have to attack it.
Notably.
They're goons.
Mm-hmm. But this one doesn't have to attack unless I play something here.
Right. But this has to do 3 damage to something.
Yeah. So like if I just am gonna go to Death's Door. That's true.
It's good to accept reality.
It's true. And we're gonna move over here. I'm gonna play a Vanguard Knights here. It's just a 3/3.
That art is dope.
And then I'm gonna pass.
All right. Start my turn. I'll draw from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
There used to be a variant that just has 2 sandstorms in the middle. It's just,
dude, I'm
just a blender.
There's a million ways to play this game, right? Like if you just have a deck of random effects like this, and it's like
and then you just draw one every turn, you just drop them on the board.
Or like these 2 spots are just face down, and when something moves into it, that flips up, and it's like
you remember like Sudden Death and like Bomberman and those kinds of games where like and then it just gets insane, and then random stuff just starts happening to speed the game up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna
have a spell that kills me.
Right. Well, I can't do it this turn anyway.
That's right. That's right. Hopefully.
But I can do some mean stuff. Let's take it. Let's do 4 here, or attempt to.
You got it.
Got him.
Should I put like a skull token on my...
It's alright, we know. We know the truth.
I'll go like 0s.
I guess if what I'm trying to do is move here within this thing, then I have a 40% chance of it happening.
You got a chance.
It's fine. They're going to attempt to come over here.
Okay.
Let's see what we roll. It's a 12. What does a 12 get me? Move to the right. Boom.
Aww.
Boom.
That's fortunate.
Math. It was 40%. Because I either get the result I want or I just get forced to get the result I want. Those giants are something, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. They're big.
I think I will. Oh, don't you see?
Black Betty.
I'm gonna exhaust here. And we're gonna play Vesuvius here.
Okay.
I can spend 3 resources and sacrifice it to deal 3 splash damage to nearby sites. I'm not doing that currently, but we're putting it in the queue.
Yeah. It's a good one to have.
Queue. Then we're going to play some black scorpions over here.
Mm-hmm.
And I will pass the intern. The kobolds will do 3 here.
Oh, right, nearby.
That's why I said it was mean.
It's so good.
And then I'll pass to you.
Okay.
And take what I got coming to me.
Uh-huh. All right, let's draw.
Okay.
I don't need that right now. Need something big. That's not big. That's a 1-2. Okay. Well, here we are.
This is awesome, Vance. I'm sitting in a tree stand deer hunting, and I'm
Oh,
watching you
cool.
fellas. Got a bit before the deer start showing up. Well, glad we could be with you in your peace and quiet time. He says, bet you never seen that in chat before. I don't know that anyone's ever told us they were out deer hunting.
Out
when
on
they
in
listen
the
to it.
stand. Okay, so we've got some interesting things here. It's over. This isn't what we need at all. Mm-hmm. Okay, how many cards you got?
Yeah.
Okay, just again hoping you don't have a haste kill my seer situation, but we're gonna protect against it. All right, so let's play a site here.
Mm-hmm. You're really good about like making sure I only can get so much land on the table.
It's a sinkhole. It can destroy another site at an adjacent site at the end of the turn, or the start of my turn.
Every time?
That's right.
I'll destroy the sinkhole and the adjacent site.
Yeah. So
I
we can
thought
just
it was just like you can keep sinking, whatever.
blow up a corner.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I had a location with 2 or 3 things on it over there, and you just nuke it
Mm-hmm.
into the void.
Yeah. So that kind of forces your goons to move. I imagine I know where one's gonna go. And the other one can go on a sinkhole and die. It's acceptable. And we got lethal to deal with. That's a problem. Let's go ahead and attempt to do 5 here. You want to get in the way with your beast.
I'll take 5.
Take 5. All right. He says take 5. Let's pay 1. Wild boar is here. 1, 2. And then I don't want to play into that. I'll pass.
Alrighty, Rooney.
See what happens.
Hopefully good things for yours truly. Those kobolds are crazy with the way they're printed right now.
They're good.
As long as there's stuff to be doing.
They're real good.
Okay. Alright. So you're on death's door.
Mm-hmm. Just gotta do 1, baby.
Just need to punch through.
Send a firebolt or a fire shot or a...
Yeah.
Or alternatively, don't. Also an option.
It would be fun. Funish. To not. But winning is fun too. All right, I think I will keep it simple. I guess you could technically have something.
I don't at all.
All right, we're gonna play a minor explosion.
Oh, that seems good.
Yeah, choose the center side up to 2 sides away from my caster. So we'll go 1, 2. And then it's a box of splash damage. So anything here takes 3.
Does it say minions or everything?
It's just a splash damage.
Shouldn't it say minions? It doesn't say that? Okay, cool.
Well, let me. You know what? Let me just verify. We'll take our time here. What is the really splash damage? Because it may only affect.
It's not
minions.
just minions. There's no way.
We'll just check.
No way.
Just live in this moment for a minute of impending doom for some of us and impending victory for others.
I'm gonna rely on a busted sandstorm card to win the game. It's fine.
Well, hey.
You know, it seems like every time we look up these cards that you're playing, they get worse. Am I wrong?
It's just my time in the sun.
I just think Eric has a thing for red.
I wouldn't blame him.
I think he's a red player. I had these ideas. He said, what if you could just make the board explode and kill everything? You know,
I think...
Isn't that a red kind of a thing?
The thing about it is, if you're just equating red with damage, it's the one I think it's easiest to have overtuned up front.
Yeah.
It always gets pulled back.
Yeah.
Almost always.
Yeah.
I can't find splash damage, but
I would imagine that it's not minions only. Although, you know what? Hold on. Let's look. Let's just make sure. Because you know that kind of has a little. I kind of remember splash damage.
Let's see what this explosion does now. What up, eclectic? So minor explosion now is deal 3 damage to each unit at target location up to 2 steps away.
Okay. So that's units only.
This specifies, yes.
So in the spirit of the game, you know, the intent of that card has always been units.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what? There are times, you know, there are people that say, I wish that they would have just sent alpha and just like not spent so much time delaying it and testing it. I think we're all going to be happier that it got tested.
I think the concern was that it was going to get simplified and all the sandstorm insanity was going to be completely removed.
Right.
But I don't think that's what is happening.
You maybe just pull it back just a little bit from time to time. Just a little bit every now and again, you know? Just those occasional things.
Tightening the system a little?
Just a little tighten. Just a little tighten.
Just a pinch?
Just a little Just a little tightening there. There's nothing in here about splash damage. Can you believe that?
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, a lot of times it's defined on cards.
So you're saying you're going to blow me up with a minor explosion here?
I am, yeah. So it's going to do 3 to anyone here, 2 to anything here.
That's pretty good too for you.
And then 1 to the corners.
That's also good.
Yeah.
But what kind of stuff do you lose in that
Well,
exchange?
this would be 2 damage, so it's 1 left. This would be 2 damage, so it's 1 left. So I'd lose nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is the idea. That was the hope here.
That's fascinating.
Oh yeah, that's the minor explosion. And then
Apparently splash damage is removed from the game.
that I like that.
They might just say like surrounding units or something.
Yeah.
Listic also said avatars are units, so it would still work to destroy me here.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And then you're dead. But
Yeah, thanks.
there's other, you know, what? I don't know. I guess I could do other things. You wouldn't tag me back, so I think my next move would be like.
After the explosion, the whole plan is
Yeah.
done.
I guess the kobolds are gonna do 3, so then I would just attack here to do 3.
Yeah, but I'm supposed to block that with the guy that isn't exploded.
Yeah. Yeah, we like it.
If you swing Scorpion first, I'll block with the Foot Soldier.
Yeah, but they're gone. Yeah.
But they're gone. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
You forgot to sinkhole me. That's at least a thing.
I had forgotten. Well, you get to move
Well, it's at the end of your turn, though, right?
at the start of my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, then I would just be totally out of
So
town.
goon over, but then we got one goon in the sinkhole in the sandstorm.
Yeah, he's going in going in guard duty over
Now,
there.
one interesting play was if that wasn't necessarily that. So I could throw Vanguard Knights here at 5. And then there's at least an interesting play there where your Ogre Goon has to attack in and die, and then you have to attack in again and die. So I could clear 2 with their ability.
Yeah. Nice.
But it didn't matter.
Yeah. The direct damage is good.
Corey Baker saying, I think you're using old versions of the card. Yes, we're using ancient versions. So these are like these are production copies. These are even pre-alpha.
They're test prints.
It's like the original cards right out of the brain before they got tweaked and changed.
I think the main thing they were trying to see is how the coloring of the digital files translated to physical.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to see as many different cards as they could so they could see it printed on the actual printers that would print the cards. And then Muad saying the gameplay is much better with the revisions. A lot of people have been playing
100%.
TTS, and I assume that's the case. So I'm happy to hear that.
I know a number of the people testing it too, and they're good players. So I can't wait. But like, that was great.
Yeah.
I would do that again.
I
See what this deck throws at me.
love that we literally just stacked up. Like, this was all of the red cards in my deck.
Is Minor Explosion ordinary?
Yeah.
Oh, I had the counter spell on the way.
And I could easily see this being the way I prefer to play, which is like kind of like Commander, 100 cards, one of any given card,
I completely agree.
and
Choose an
you just
element.
are YOLOing into it.
Yeah.
I would have a ton of fun doing that, and I think I could enjoy playing every element because also the deck building is so much lower intensity. Like you only have so many to choose from at
Yes.
100 cards, right, or whatever it is.
Yeah, true.
Or whatever the number
One-ups.
is.
Yeah.
Even if in alpha, it's like just play one of every card you have in that color.
You need the system already accounts though for like the ordinary, exceptional, elite on quantities you can include in deck. So those would be statistically higher exceptional pulls by the numbers. Because normally it would be, I think, well, that's not necessarily true, is it?
I mean, I think
If you had 100 exceptional cards, your deck could be all exceptional, which would be interesting.
yeah, and I don't know if that would be any good.
Or rare or unique or whatever
Yeah,
the top
you get up
level
100
is.
uniques in time.
Yeah.
But just the idea of having a big old stack of cards that you don't. The game already does it to an extent because like
It does.
a unique card you can only have one of anyway. So a 50 card deck, you're not going to see the uniques every time. But something about just like a sealed giant pool and then like, let's see what you get.
I'm glad you're into that because I'd be very into that.
I could do this all day. This is
All
so
right.
good.
Well, then we shall.
Yeah.
Let's expand. It's possible to build some very interesting decks, though, if you actually know how to deck build, unlike me. Appreciate that, Listic. I feel that way sometimes, too. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you miss anything about beta and all of that, that went a lot farther than I think we expected it to, but glad to have that conversation. and happy to be challenged on anything that was said there in the Discord. Come on into the Discord. Come to Sorcery channel and let's chat if you disagree with some of the stuff we were saying.
Yeah, and happy to answer questions and be transparent. Also, just a handful of things worth noting. All the cards we're going to use today are early test prints of the game. We're going to be sending all of these.
Everything here.
Yeah, one maximum of one per person, but with the first shipment through our subscription service, we can sign up to automatically get future expansions. We're going to start that service with Set 2, Arthurian Legends. You sign up, you don't pay anything now. We'll charge 1 to 4 weeks before release. You'll get charged, we'll ship it to you. It'll come with, it's free shipping at 2 boxes, right?
I think it's 2, yeah.
An exclusive promo that you get with every box in your subscription, plus one of these cards at random for Arthurian Legends for some number of people. Now, not everyone that subscribes will get one. There's more subscribers than we have cards here.
Totally random.
And it's going to be totally random. And then we also recently launched a beta pre-order. Beta is the kind of second print run of Alpha, which is what the Kickstarter was.
The first set.
Yeah. And we're going to be having that pre-order up through March 31st, so that'll end on April 1st. And the beta pre-order is MSRP, free shipping at 2 boxes, exclusive promo with every box. It's a lightning bolt, which looks beautiful. And that's just a way to guarantee you get the products and you don't have to hunt them down at various places or get allocated or any of that kind of business. If you just want to know you're getting it when it's coming out, it's a really easy way to do that. And huge shout out to Eric Curiosa for taking a chance on this game. It's unstated a lot, but the vast majority of this art was done before the game even hit Kickstarter and was successful. So it's a huge labor of love for Eric and his team and a huge financial risk, honestly. To see that pay out and to be successful on Kickstarter is awesome. And for sending us the test box that we can do and working with us to do the pre-orders and the subscriptions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Very excited about this game and to work with Eric Curiosa.
Yeah, we'll keep doing that as much as we can. Who knows what's possible? We've got a ton of ideas for how we could support Sorcery moving forward on the retail level and on the content level. So we hope you guys will stick around for it. Thanks so much for being a part of it. We'll hit the old outro and get out of here. These videos will be produced later on once I think we've about got the system up and running. You've probably seen some more shorts and stuff start to be generated. So like this game we just played and the conversation we had should be its own standalone video that you can enjoy in full quality moving on down the road. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.